Chapter 250. How many people in the true energy realm could experience a lightning tribulation? Mo didn't know because he had never heard of it before. Even those who cultivated the perfect body in the Wuji sect didn't experience a lightning tribulation at this time. Moreover, it was such a terrifying lightning tribulation. The sky was blue and clear without a trace of clouds. The setting sun fell from the sky and sprinkled on the body, as if it was covered with a layer of golden gauze. Boom! However, in such weather, lightning appeared out of nowhere. It was vast and majestic, filled with a terrifying aura as if it was going to destroy all living things in the world. Lightning appearing in a clear sky was a very strange thing. However, what was even stranger was that under the lightning there was a young man who was only in the true energy realm undergoing a lightning tribulation. The heavenly lightning fell with a terrifying pressure as if it was going to destroy everything in the world. However, he used his body to block it and didn't dodge. Boom! The lightning aura was violent and struck the young man's body, but it didn't destroy him. A suction force appeared on the young man's body and directly absorbed the lightning energy. When the heavenly lightning fell on his body, he was unharmed. Moreover, he absorbed the lightning energy to refine his body. The young man's physique was terrifying. The second lightning fell with even more power. It had a glaring silver light, like an angry dragon roaring ferociously. The young man clenched his fists. His eyes were as bright as Xing Chen's. He went against the sky, his body emitting a glaring golden light as he collided with the lightning. The terrifying lightning was filled with a destructive aura. However, in front of the young man, it was like a docile sheep. It was directly scattered. Then, the young man sucked in, and the exploded lightning was swallowed into his stomach. Boom! The world roared, and the third lightning appeared. It was like a crazy lightning dragon with a long tail. It fell with a terrifying pressure. Extreme Yang. The young man shouted, and a seal appeared in his hand. It was simple, but full of mystery. Then, a glaring golden light appeared like a bolt of golden lightning. It went against the sky and rushed towards the lightning. Pum! The glaring golden light met the lightning and let out a loud bang. The lightning dissipated in the sky, and the violent lightning energy raged. Haha, so this is God's retribution? It's just S.O. Let it all out, let it all out. The young man laughed out loud. His entire body was shining with golden light, making him look like a god of war. Extreme Een. Following this, a golden light filled with an extremely cold aura appeared and destroyed the fourth bolt of lightning. This was an extremely shocking scene. There was actually someone in the true element boundary who was able to resist the heavenly thunder. Such a magnificent feat happened in this dense forest. No one saw it, and no one cheered for this magnificent feat. Another bolt of lightning was shattered. Ha! The young man laughed loudly. His voice was deafening, suppressing the thunder and lightning in the sky. A strong sense of self-confidence lingered in his heart. At this moment, the young man was in high spirits. Boom! The sky trembled once again. This time, an even more terrifying aura appeared. A thick bolt of heavenly lightning appeared out of nowhere, bringing with it a vast aura. It was as if there was only this bolt of lightning. The young man launched another attack. He was very relaxed and filled with confidence. Golden light flickered continuously as the golden light shot up into the sky. Boom! However, something strange happened. After a bolt of lightning appeared, another bolt of lightning appeared in the sky. The two bolts of lightning lit up the entire sky almost at the same time. The bright golden light was instantly shattered by the heavenly lightning, and then the bolt of lightning landed on the young man's body. The destructive aura rippled. Under the ravaging of the lightning, the peak of the mountain fell by 3 feet. The young man's clothes were all torn apart, revealing his charred body. Black smoke was coming out of his head. Me. The young man was speechless. He felt wronged. Didn't the heavenly lightning appear one by one? How could there be two of them? It was so unreasonable. Boom! Before the young man could recover from his injuries, the sky trembled again with a rumbling sound. 3 dazzling lights appeared in the sky. In the blink of an eye, they enlarged and turned into 3 terrifying bolts of lightning crashing down. 3 bolts! The young man's eyes widened in shock. On his charred skin, streaks of golden light appeared as he tried his best to resist. The destructive heavenly lightning was enough to make the world tremble. The young man was powerful and could barely resist it. However, 3 bolts appeared at the same time. This was really strange. Boom! The 3 bolts of lightning fell at the same time, hitting the young man's body almost at the same time. The destructive aura, with the young man as the center, rippled out in all directions. This time, the peak of the mountain was cut in half. Cough! Cough! Smoke and dust were everywhere. The violent energy swept across the sky. The young man walked out of the debris with green smoke coming out of his body. He spat out a few pieces of gravel. God, you're playing with me. The young man raised his head. His black face was full of grievance. Boom! Boom! The tribulation lightning did not dissipate. This time, several bolts appeared in succession, like a chain of heaven and earth. They shrouded the young man. The destructive aura rippled. This time, several bolts of lightning appeared. It was very terrifying. It was like a huge chain connecting heaven and earth. The destructive aura kept surging. The young man only had time to let out a cry of agony before he was drowned by the lightning. After that, the sound of thunder rang out, and the towering mountain peak disappeared, turning into a mountain stream. Dust and debris flew everywhere, and the aura of destruction lingered for a quarter of an hour before slowly dissipating. The sky was dead silent. Only the dust was rolling. No one knew whether the young man was dead or alive. After another quarter of an hour, a sound came from the mountain stream. A charred young man crawled out of the endless smoke. A total of 18 bolts of lightning almost turned the young man into ashes. However, he managed to survive. Although he was in a difficult situation, he was still alive. After that, the young man climbed onto a huge rock and sat down cross-legged. After a while, his charred skin peeled off inch by inch like an eggshell, revealing the new skin underneath. The new skin was crystal clear like jade. It was like a woman's body. It was a bit too white. After all the old skin fell off, the young man's body emitted a dazzling golden light. A powerful aura emerged. Second sky of true Yuan. I finally broke through. Li Hao, watch how I beat you up. The young man's eyes flashed coldly. His strength had increased once again. This time, he was full of confidence in facing those monsters. Breaking through the tribulation lightning had caused too much of a commotion. He had to leave now. He changed his appearance and hid in the forest. Just as he hid in the forest, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. A figure was flying over from the horizon. It was a man in snow-white clothes. He had a heroic appearance. His eyes were as deep as the sea, shining brightly like Xingqian. He walked over from the horizon. It was as if the ground had shrunk to an inch. In just a few steps, he arrived at the place where Zichen was undergoing his tribulation. This is the aura of the tribulation lightning. The man appeared from the horizon and stood in the air, looking down at the people below. His eyes flashed with a strange light that disappeared in an instant. However, when he felt the dissipating energy around him, he raised his eyebrows. Is this a little monster undergoing a tribulation lightning? The man frowned. He shook his head and said, No, this tribulation lightning is not very strong. It is not an ordinary tribulation lightning. After that, the man examined his surroundings. He carefully observed every spot that was ravaged by the lightning. When he saw that the mountain had been forcibly turned into a mountain stream, his expression changed. This is the second level of the tribulation lightning. although it is not very strong. There must be a reason for it to appear now. Could it be that I am lucky enough to meet a sky-level warrior or a mutated beast? The man's expression changed. He walked towards the horizon. In one step, he was already in the sky. He took another step and disappeared. After the man left, a sharp whistling sound was heard. One after another, silhouettes appeared from the horizon at breakneck speeds. These were all experts who were flying in the air. Clearly, they were all flying in the air. There were 3 of them, representing 3 different forces. What happened? This place is destroyed. The 3 of them flew forward and looked at the traces below. One of them asked, "What a powerful lightning energy! Could it be that someone has passed the tribulation? The lightning energy is very strong. It should be the tribulation lightning. Oh my God! Someone has passed the tribulation lightning here. Could it be that another ancestor-level powerhouse has appeared in the world?" The 3 of them were shocked. They looked at the battlefield carefully. They were amazed that they had missed the scene of a strong cultivator passing the tribulation. A majestic mountain was blown to pieces. This tribulation lightning is really scary. The 3 of them did not stay there for long. If it was an ancestor-level powerhouse, they would not be able to defeat him. So they left in a hurry. The Lee family had been very angry recently. They had been slapped in the face by Zichin again. 5 of the hunting squads that were sent out had been lost. One had to know that those squads had been trained since they were young and knew how to attack together. They could even exhaust geniuses to death, but they had all been killed by Zichin. Moreover, he had killed 5 small teams. He had killed them so thoroughly. The huge losses made the hearts of the Lee family bleed. The other cultivators were even more enraged and threatened to kill Zichin immediately. Have you heard? The Lee family's hunting team lost 5 of them in a mountain forest. Hunting team? Didn't the Lee family spend a lot of money to train them? They are said to be able to kill geniuses. Usually they're not sent out. But now, because of Zichin, they send out such a terrifying team. That's right. Zichin killed 5 of them from such a small team. The next day, the news that was tightly sealed by the Lee family was leaked. For a time, the whole Songli city was talking about it. For a time, there was an uproar. The Lee family had lost even more face this time. In the past, the Lee family was arrogant when they went out, and everyone looked at them with envy. But since Zichin appeared, the Lee family's reputation had been greatly damaged. They always felt that there was a sharp edge behind their backs when they went out and faced strange gazes. They sent out many strong cultivators, but they could not find Zichin. The latter suddenly disappeared without a trace, as if he had evaporated. Of course, it was fine if he had really evaporated, but it was like he was playing hide-and-seek. He disappeared for 2 days and appeared for 2 days. Every 2 days he would appear and kill a hunting team. Then he would hide again and disappear without a trace. 2 days later he would appear again. Over and over again. In this half a month, the number of hunting teams that had died had already exceeded 10. The Lee family was completely furious. They heard bad news every day. Their hearts were bleeding, and they could hear the roars of the Lee family all day long. Chapter 251. Zichin, come out and fight me if you dare. I can kill you 1,000 times with a single finger. Li Hao stepped on the Emperor Peng bird and traveled through the woods, but he was always a step too late. All he could see were cold corpses that had been cleaned up. He could not help but roar in anger as he still could not find Zichin. Almost every time he arrived at a place, Li Hao would roar into the sky and utter some provocative words. After a few days, Zichin still had not appeared. On the other hand, Li Hao was so furious that he almost vomited blood, causing him to suffer internal injuries. Although the Li clan had been thoroughly humiliated, the Song clan and the martial ancestor did not dare to laugh at them, as they were not any better off. The experts they had sent out were also dying, and they could not even find the shadow of Qin Nan. Wanted posters appeared one after another. The streets and alleys were filled with Zi Chen's portrait, and the reward was as high as 5,000 yuan stones. Furious, the factions were completely enraged as they offered a high reward. Zi Chen was like a loach, very slippery. No matter how they searched, no matter how tight the encirclement was, it was of no use. Zi Chen always managed to slip away. People died almost every day, but no one was able to discover Zi Chen's whereabouts. The latter was like a phantom walking in the woods, hiding during the day and causing trouble at night. 5,000 primary stones. Once Zi Chen is found, each faction will pay 5,000 primary stones. The three factions were completely enraged. Each faction offered 5,000 primary stones, with a reward of 15,000 primary stones, causing everyone to go crazy. Find Zi Chen and kill Zi Chen. Zi Chen had now become the nightmare of the three factions. They could not get rid of him, nor could they kill him. The three geniuses were full of confidence, claiming that they could kill Zi Chen 1,000 times with a single finger, but he had never shown himself. Thus they could not kill him even if they wanted to. Each of them almost suffered internal injuries from holding back their anger. Although they had great strength, they did not know where to hit. A bounty as high as 15,000 could be said to have caused a huge commotion. This time, the three forces had joined forces to issue a bounty, so naturally it couldn't be fake. Thus, many cultivators left the town and walked into the dense forest to search for traces of Zi Chen. Almost everyone was holding a portrait of Zi Chen. Zi Chen was now a household name. At the same time, the assassin pavilion was also under a lot of pressure. They couldn't find Zi Chen even after a long time and couldn't kill him. This was a huge blow to their reputation as assassins. They could only send out more assassins to find Zi Chen. In the dense forest, the ancient trees were like small hills. The humid air was filled with the thick smell of blood. "Come out! Come out!" A black-robed cultivator held a saber with both hands and screamed. His voice was sharp and filled with fear. His arms were trembling, and he could not even hold his weapon steadily. "Come out! Come out if you have the guts! What's the point of hiding in the dark and launching sneak attacks?" There was another person beside him who was also shouting loudly. He was not much better. His face was filled with fear, as if he had seen the Grim Reaper. Beside him, there were two corpses lying on the ground. Their vitality had dissipated, and the fatal wounds were on their backs. A sharp weapon had pierced through their backs, causing blood to gush out. The smell of blood filled the air. "Come out! If you have the ability to kill, why don't you show yourself?" The man with the saber shouted loudly. However, his voice was trembling, and he could not even hold his saber steadily. In the distance, beside an ancient tree, a cold figure appeared and looked at the two coldly. He was dressed in black and had a slender figure. His eyes were cold and emotionless. He held a long silver spear in his hand that emitted a chilling aura. "Zi Chen, I know it's you. Come out, if you have the guts, and fight me to the death." The cultivator shouted and circled around on the spot. His saber was pointing forward, but it was shaking. "You've been following us sneakily and launching sneak attacks. What's the point of that? Come out, if you have the guts." The other person shouted in fear. They were martial ancestors' men. When they came, there were more than 10 of them. They were strong and had come in groups. Their goal was to kill Zi Chen. After staying in the forest for several days, they still could not find Zi Chen. The group cursed and swore that they could kill Zi Chen with a single finger. Since then, the nightmare had begun. Everyone felt as if they were being haunted by evil spirits. There would always be people who would die silently and fall to the ground silently. The fatal wounds were all on the back of their hearts. What was even more tragic was that they couldn't even see the other party's face clearly. Only 2 people were left. However, they did not know who the beast was. They did not even know if it was a human or a ghost. Panic, uneasiness, anxiety, and worry made them lose control of their emotions. When there were many of them, they did not feel it. They were all clamoring for the murderer to come out. However, as their companions fell and died in front of them, their eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. Their bodies and minds were suffering unimaginable torment. When there were only 4 people left, boundless fear emerged from the bottom of their hearts. An inexplicable panic filled their hearts. The 4 of them were about to collapse. But now 2 more people had died. There were only 2 left. They could no longer hold on and completely collapsed. Swoosh! A ray of silver light appeared silently. With a strong killing intent, it pierced through the back of a cultivator. "Who is it?" The other person sensed something and turned around abruptly. He swung his blade, but there was no one behind him, not even a shadow. After a few slashes, his comrade's corpse fell to the ground. There was only a bloody hole in his chest, blood gushing out. Along the way, they had seen their companions die with their own eyes. Fear surrounded their hearts and destroyed their strong will. Now that his heart was pierced, not only was there no fear in this cultivator's eyes, there was a trace of relief instead. Instead of waiting for death in fear and suffering physical and mental torture, it was better to die directly. At this moment, death was a form of release for him. Ah! The last cultivator roared. His hair was disheveled as if he had gone mad. The long saber in his hand was slashing wildly. The blade was cold and sharp, and rays of saber light appeared and slashed in all directions. This was a cultivator in the 5th heaven. He was very powerful. Logically speaking, he should not be like this. However, along the way, several cultivators in the 6th heaven had died, not to mention a cultivator in the 5th heaven. It was already a miracle that he could survive until now. However, this miracle would end here. He completely collapsed. The saber light kept flashing and slashing on the ancient trees. The branches and leaves in the forest danced wildly, blocking people's vision. Uft! The long saber slashed wildly and his will completely collapsed. Then a long spear appeared, piercing through the sky of leaves and piercing the cultivator's body from the back. Ugh! Looking at the long spear that pierced through his heart, the cultivator seemed to have been electrocuted. All his movements were frozen at this moment. He wanted to turn around and see if the murderer was Zichin. Unfortunately, all his strength was drained at this moment. Then his head tilted and he died. This was a very large, dense forest. The major forces predicted that Zichin would hide here, so they sent many experts. However, they guessed the front part, but not the back part. In this dense forest, Zichin was like a ghost, a demon. He appeared without a sound, killed without a sound, and then disappeared without a trace. Just like how he came quietly, killed one life after another, and then left quietly, taking away all the vitality stones. In this dense forest, Zichin was in a no-man's land. He did not fight with the experts. When he saw the 3 great monsters, he immediately took a detour and killed the weak ones. He wanted to make the 3 great forces completely mad. Of course, he did not have a better way. After killing many people from the 3 great forces, Zichin finally left the dense forest 2 days later. He changed his appearance and walked into a town. During this time, Zichin heard the sound of air being torn apart above his head. One by one, people rushed into the dense forest. It was obvious that the 3 great forces were completely mad. They did not hesitate to send out so many people. The town was in front of him. As soon as he reached the entrance, Zichin saw 2 2-meter-tall portraits hanging on both sides of the city wall. Anyone who finds Zichin will be rewarded with 10,000 vitality stones each. Previously it was 5,000, but now it was increased to 10,000. Even Zichin was shocked when he saw it. His eyes kept flashing. If he had a clone technique, he would want to report him. 30,000 vitality stones was enough for him to use for a long time. Moreover, his physique and cultivation method were very special. He needed vitality stones very much. In this period of time, Zichin had used up half of the 5,000 vitality stones. Although he had some gains from killing and robbing people, no one would complain about having too many vitality stones. More and more people gathered in the town. Almost everyone held a portrait in their hands and then rushed to the dense forest. 30,000 vitality stones was enough to attract many rogue cultivators. However, Zi-chan was not afraid. As long as he did not show himself, no one could find him. Damn it, damn monk. Suddenly, Zi-chan saw a familiar figure in the town. He was wearing a kasaya, had a big bald head and a big belly. It was Evil Good Monk. The latter walked in the crowd with a kind face. He had his palms together and a smile on his face. He looked like an enlightened monk. However, Zi-chan could clearly see that the monk's eyes were flickering with golden light whenever he looked at someone. This monk is still looking for me. He really doesn't give up. Zi-chan cursed in his heart. However, he did not go up to the monk. Instead, he took a detour. There was something strange about the monk. Zi-chan suspected that he had seen something. Since someone had already gone to the forest, Zi-chan could not stay any longer. He planned to rest for 2 days before going to the next place. He wanted to kill until the great forces did not dare to send ordinary cultivators to hunt him down. Zi-chan, come out. I, Li Hao, can kill you 1,000 times with a finger. On this day, a huge creature appeared in the sky above the town. Li Hao stood on the back of the Rock King and shouted angrily at the town. Zi-chan saw Li Hao and just curled his lips. Zi-chan, go to the Decapitation Valley and the Decapitation Conference if you have the guts. I, Li Hao, will wait for you there. I can kill you with one hand. This was Li Hao's declaration of war. He did not know Zi-chan's exact location, so he shouted in every town and forest. After a few days, his throat was dry and smoking. Zi-chan, I will kill you at the Decapitation Conference in 3 days. Li Hao's high profile attracted a lot of attention. In the first Decapitation Conference, Zi-chan destroyed everyone from the 3 forces. What would happen in this Decapitation Conference? Everyone was filled with anticipation. Before the time was up, there were already cultivators rushing to the Decapitation Valley to witness a battle between monsters. Chapter 252. Beheading Valley Beheading Conference. Early in the morning, many cultivators had arrived. There were more than 10,000 of them, and they were all waiting for Zi-chan's arrival. They were all looking forward to a great battle. Li Hao was eager to kill Zi-chan, so he appeared early in the morning. Following the piercing cry of the Rock King, Li Hao descended from the sky. His figure was elegant and handsome, and his robes fluttered in the wind. Li Hao stood on the 10-meter-high platform and scanned the surroundings. He was surrounded by a strong battle intent. Li Hao is here. What a terrifying Li Hao. The aura around him is terrifying. I wonder when Zi-chan will arrive. After a while, the ground trembled. Song Mang walked into the beheading valley with a huge blade on his back. Another monstrous genius had arrived, causing a commotion. It's Song Mang, the monstrous genius of the Tsang family. Compared to a few months ago, Song Meng's expression was much gloomier. They were all monstrous geniuses, representing the strongest forces of the 3 major sects in the 7 major cities. However, they were fooled by a mere rogue cultivator. None of them were in a good mood. Wu Yuan also appeared at the right time. He emitted a cold aura, causing the crowd to exclaim in surprise. Then, the crowd quickly made way for him. The monstrous geniuses of the 3 major forces were here to kill Zi-chan. A monk appeared in the crowd. His eyes flickered as he scanned the crowd. A faint golden light appeared in his eyes. After a while, a look of disappointment appeared on his face. Then, his gaze landed on the platform again. Li Hao was emitting a crazy battle intent. He then scanned the surroundings. Idiot, do you think everyone is a fool? You guys are monstrous geniuses. His gaze swept around, and a faint golden light appeared. Monk cursed in a low voice. He was very annoyed, so he turned around and left. He must have guessed that Zi Qin would not come. Monk turned around and left. However, when he walked out of the beheading valley, he saw a young man standing in front of him. Monk frowned slightly. His eyes flickered with a golden light. However, when he looked again, he realized that there was no one there. It must be Zi Qin. Monk's mind moved, and he dashed towards the opposite side. He was like a ray of golden light. But when he reached the place, he didn't see anyone. Could it be an illusion? That's impossible. The monk shook his head and searched the surroundings again, but he didn't find anything. While everyone was waiting, Zi Qin did not appear. Disappointment began to spread, and the cultivators who wanted to watch the battle between the freaks could only shake their heads and sigh. Zi Qin, you are just a cowardly rat. If you have the ability, then appear at the Severing Qin assembly. I, Li Hao, can give you 10 moves. Even after the sun had set, Zi Qin still didn't appear. Li Hao was so angry that he kept shouting and uttering bold words. Zi Qin, I, Wu Yuan, can also give you 10 moves. Show yourself if you dare. I'll kill you on the spot. The freak martial ancestor also spoke. They were no longer keeping a low profile. I can cut you into 10 pieces with 1 slash, as long as you dare to appear. The long blade in Songmeng's hand exploded with a terrifying aura. They were very strong, but also very sullen. During this period of time, they had been searching everywhere for Zi Qin, day and night. They had no time to cultivate at all. Not only had Zi Qin slapped the 3 forces in the face, but he had also slowed down the cultivation progress of the 3 monstrous geniuses. No matter how the 3 of them clamored, no matter how strong they were, Zi Qin still didn't appear. Disappointed voices came from the crowd. Zi Qin is shameless. What unparalleled battle strength! Those are all rumors. That's right. How can a mere remnant of the Nimbus martial ancestor be a freak? It's just a rumor. Otherwise, why wouldn't he dare to appear? Such a piece of trash dares to call himself a freak. How shameless. He doesn't even have the guts to appear now. Dissatisfied voices came from the crowd. Many people agreed, and the discussion grew louder. You're exaggerating. Zi Qin's battle strength is unparalleled. He has killed many experts from the 3 forces. Weren't Song He and the others killed by Zi Qin? Also, many of the famous hunting teams of the Li family were killed by him. Zi Qin is definitely a freak. You're saying that Zi Qin is trash at this moment. I don't know what your intentions are. If you're not trash, why don't you go up? Someone couldn't stand it anymore and retorted. The sky gradually darkened, and Zi Qin still didn't appear. The crowd was divided into 2 groups. One was his fans, and the other was his haters. His battle strength is unparalleled. He's a freak. Why doesn't he dare to appear? He must be scared out of his wits and is hiding somewhere. Now that the 3 geniuses are here, if Zi Qin's battle strength is really unparalleled, he would have come long ago. Why would he not show up? You bunch of morons don't know the truth. All you know is to clamor. The cultivators were very excited. Zi Qin didn't appear, which disappointed many people who wanted to watch the battle. The situation was one-sided. That day when the 3 geniuses were chasing Zi Qin, he was only in the innate realm. Didn't he successfully escape? Bullshit. That day, the 3 geniuses didn't even catch up to Zi Qin. They didn't even see his face before he ran away. That day at the decapitation assembly, didn't Zi Qin appear? He killed a few geniuses and killed everyone. Someone shouted loudly. Bullshit. Who knows who started the rumor? If Zi Qin had such strength, he would have appeared long ago, someone retorted. The 2 groups were very excited, and their words were very extreme. UF asterisk king, talk nonsense again. Do you believe that I won't kill you? Idiot. Zi Qin is trash. If he's not trash, why didn't he appear? How can such trash have people supporting him? You're all idiots. Many people were arguing, but they were threatened. The people who refuted Zi Qin were very strong, and each of them was extraordinary. We naturally know how strong Zichen is. I saw the battle that day with my own eyes. Instead, it's you people who keep slandering Zichen. I don't know what your intentions are. Are you people from the three major powers, or are you some despicable people? The two groups were arguing fiercely. The side that supported Zichen also had strong people who were arguing. Many of the people in the crowd were sent by the three major powers. Zichen was like the sun in the sky, and his fame was too great. He was constantly slapping the three major powers in the face. It was necessary to slander him and bring about some negative public opinion. Zichen, I'll wait for you here for 3 days. Let's see if you have the guts to come. The sky darkened, and torches were lit around the high platform. Li Hao stood on the high platform, and the light illuminated his determined face as he spoke. Li Hao is mighty. As soon as Li Hao finished speaking, cheers rang out from below. In just one night, Li Hao had gained a lot of supporters. The Li clan is mighty, killing that despicable Zichen. A loud voice rang out from below. Li family is mighty and domineering. More people echoed. Zichen, I will definitely kill you. Wu Yuan also jumped onto the high platform, and his aura surged. Wu Yuan is mighty, Wu ancestor is mighty. Waves of voices rang out, each louder than the last. They were not any weaker than Li Hao's. Kill Zichen. Destroy that despicable Zichen. The voices were so loud that it shook the sky. Songmeng followed, and obviously he also had many supporters. Songmeng is mighty and domineering, killing that trash Zichen with one strike. In the entire canyon, there were actually many people who supported the three monstrous geniuses. Humph! In the crowd, many people sneered. Naturally, they knew what was going on. The three monstrous geniuses might have been very popular in the past, but with Zichen's appearance, the three factions lost face. How could they still be so popular? At the same time, they were secretly criticizing the three factions for being shameless. Zichen, come out quickly and kill those three pieces of trash. Some people were dissatisfied with the actions of the three factions and prayed in their hearts. In their hearts, the three monstrous geniuses were the three pieces of trash. Zichen did not appear until the sky darkened. More and more people were shouting at Zichen, and many rogue cultivators were affected and joined in. On that day, in the town closest to the Zhenying Valley, Zichen's cold voice rang out. Li Hao, Songmeng, Wu Yuan, if you still have some dignity, don't be so shameless. That will only make people look down on you. There are at least 10 flight warriors around the high platform. You really think too highly of me. I wonder how you three pieces of trash will fare against 10 flight warriors. Zichen said. His voice was extremely cold. Zhenying conference, do you think you're worthy? If it's one-on-one, I'll definitely kill you. I think you know that, so you shamelessly came to flight warriors. That's all you have, and the factions behind you are shameless to the extreme. That night, the town was in an uproar. No one expected Zichen to be here, and many people wanted to report to him and earn the 30,000 yuan stones. I don't know how you shameless factions grew, but I'm sure that if you continue to be so shameless, you'll definitely be destroyed. Everyone was in an uproar. Zichen had said a lot of things that night, but this sentence was the most disgraceful. Many people were looking for Zichen, but no one could find him. Only the cold voice rang out in the sky of the town. You guys are so shameless that you want to kill me. Very well, I'll make you guys pay the price for your shameless acts. After his last sentence, Zichen left the town and walked towards the next dense forest. That night, Zichen turned into a demon, and like a ghost, he harvested one life after another. Pooh! Silver light flickered, illuminating the dark night. A cultivator's eyes were filled with shock as he fell into a pool of blood. This was one of the martial ancestors' men, and he was killed by Zichen. There were several corpses beside him, dripping with blood. Whoosh! The silver spear was like a venomous dragon, releasing a blinding silver light. It instantly pierced through a person's throat, and beside him, there were 3 people lying in pools of blood. The Lee family's hunting team had a total of 4 people. They had cultivated together since they were young, and were good at joint attacks, but they were all killed by Zichin. The Lee family, the Tsang family, the Marshall ancestor, and all the cultivators in this dense forest met with a great disaster that night. Zichin was like a ghost, floating in the forest. Wherever he went, corpses fell. This was a night filled with slaughter, and it was also the nightmare of the 3 factions. One expert after another was killed, and one expert after another fell into pools of blood. You all will pay the price for being shameless. That night, Zichin spent his time in slaughter. When the sky was about to brighten, he quickly flew away, changing his appearance. P.S. All right, I'll say a few words. It's naturally unrealistic to want a book to be good for everyone who reads it, not to mention a small writer like me who can't even afford to eat and wear. Even a great god can't do that. I'm very glad that I only see people cursing the protagonist and not the author. I hope everyone can keep it up. I'll explain 1 or 2 comments here. If you read the book carefully, you should see that after Zichin broke through and returned, he first went to the Lin family to find Lin Shui. The reason he came back was because he was worried about Lin Shui. After that, there was the decapitation conference, and then there was a series of pursuits. Why didn't I describe the scene of Zichin being pursued in detail? If I wrote it carefully, there would definitely be a lot of cursing. Fake, not on the same level at all. It was good enough that he could escape. As for why his strength increased so slowly and why he consumed so many spirit herbs, with such a huge consumption, what did Zichin obtain? Unparalleled battle power. I've already stepped into society and have passed the age of fantasy. I know that if a person wants to obtain something, they naturally have to pay a certain amount. Even if they pay a certain amount, they might not get anything in return. If Zichen's strength was as fast as a rocket, 1,000-year-old spirit herb could increase his strength by more than 10 levels. Then, with unparalleled battle power, he could challenge and kill people above his level. Killing geniuses, killing monsters. Why? Because he's the protagonist. People train bitterly for dozens of years, and you can do it with 1,000-year-old spirit herb. Moreover, you're stronger than them. Is this reasonable? If I write it, will anyone read it? I'll probably be called a retard and an idiot. Also, why can't Zichin beat the monk? I want to say, there are many people that Zichin can't beat. He can't beat Yukong. He can't beat Drifting Mist. Why must he beat them all? Am I supposed to write that Zichin used Extreme Yang to kill a master-level existence? He's the number 1 in the world. Chapter 253. Ing Slang Valley. The 3 monstrous geniuses were standing on a high platform. They said that they wanted Zichin to kill Zichin in 10 moves with 1 hand. They had been waiting for Zichin for 3 days. Below them, the people from the 3 forces shouted in unison. Their voices were like waves, each louder than the last. Just as the atmosphere in the heroic Slang Valley reached its climax, and the naval forces brought by the 3 factions were cursing Zichin to the point that he was worthless, Zichen's words finally came from the small town. Wow! As soon as the news came out, the crowd was in an uproar. They looked at the high platform and then looked around. There are 10 people of the Flight of Flight hidden here. Oh my God, the 3 forces are really crazy. They hid 10 people of the Flight of Flight just to kill Zichin. They are really shameless. These 3 monstrous geniuses were still shouting here. So this was a scheme. Why? How did Zichin know? Could it be that he was already here and left after sensing the Flight of Flight? The crowd was in an uproar. This time, many people looked at the 3 monstrous geniuses in a different light. They were strong and were known as monstrous geniuses. However, this temperament of his was truly not something that others dared to compliment. Nonsense. He is obviously scared, but he said that there are people of the Flight of Flight here. Yes, he is a piece of trash. He did not dare to come here for fear of being killed. So he spread rumors to smear the reputation of the three forces and the three monstrous geniuses. Among the crowd, the Internet Water Army played a role again. They used their glib tongue to turn the situation around. Who is Li Hao? He is the monstrous genius of the Li family. What is the Li family? They're one of the strongest forces in the southern region, 7 big cities and 3 big sections. They have countless martial arts and secret manuals. Killing Ziqin is as easy as killing an ant. Why do they need to use schemes? This is the excuse Ziqin came up with because of his cowardice. Do you really believe it? Wu Yuan has inherited the martial ancestors' arts, and his battle prowess is terrifying. How could he possibly scheme? Trash Ziqin. Song Meng didn't even study his family's secret manuals. Instead, he focused on practicing the saber. He's known as the saber maniac. He's obsessed with the saber, and he's upright and plain-spoken. How could he do such a thing? Ziqin didn't dare to come up with such a reason. What a joke. These people were eloquent. With just a few words, they turned a disadvantage into an advantage. Some people seemed to be deep in thought and nodded repeatedly, but some people snorted disdainfully. This Ziqin is truly a despicable person. With the situation reversed, the paid posters continued to smear Ziqin's name. Ziqin's tracks have been discovered. He's fighting with several experts in Little Desert Town. Suddenly, a loud shout came from the crowd. That's right. I'm here to deliver the news. Ziqin has already killed 2 of them. The rest are no match for him. Another person shouted. Little Desert Town was the nearest town. Previously, Ziqin's words came from there. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. As soon as the voice fell, a commotion broke out in the crowd. However, at this moment, a destructive aura appeared. Around the high platform, figures appeared one after another. There were exactly 10 of them. 10 of them appeared in the sky. Ignoring the shocked gazes of the crowd, they flew towards Little Desert Town. 10 rays of light flew across the sky. A terrifying aura swept across the area. Everyone was dumbfounded. Sky really appeared. The truth was right in front of them. Even the paid posters didn't know what to say. Even if they were eloquent, they couldn't think of anything to argue with. 3 evildoers, upright and plain-spoken. Ha ha! 3 evildoers. Roaring laughter came from the crowd. Those who didn't believe in the 3 great powers at all were laughing even louder now. Their laughter was ear-piercing. As for those who had believed before, they felt that they had been deceived. Not only had their feelings been deceived, but their souls had also been deceived. The paid posters were speechless. Laughter echoed in the Janaean Valley. At this moment, a bald man walked out of the Janaean Valley. Damn it! The 3 monstrous geniuses stood on the high platform. They felt as if there was a sharp blade on their backs, and their faces were burning hot. They were proud evildoers. However, they couldn't go against their families. They were confident that they could kill Ziqin. However, their families didn't agree. That was why they came up with such a plan. However, they didn't expect that someone would see through them. Moreover, they had deliberately made preparations and even used the Internet Water Army just to smear Ziqin's reputation and provoke him. However, it seemed to have brought about the opposite effect. Ziqin, I swear I will kill you. The 3 great monsters were enraged. However, the words that sounded like bold words from before had now attracted many disdainful gazes. Who shouted just now? Come out. At this moment, a terrifying aura appeared in the sky. A person flew over. Those with sharp eyes noticed that it was the one who left just now. Speak. Who is the messenger? The terrifying aura was rampant with killing intent. Many cultivators couldn't withstand the aura and fell to the ground. Yukong's body was filled with killing intent, a dense killing intent. They were fooled. There was no trace of Ziqin in Little Desert Town. There were more than 10,000 people here. They looked at each other and blinked innocently. Some wanted to laugh, but they hid it well. Boom! The 10-meter-high platform exploded. The three evildoers left. Yukong glanced at the crowd coldly and turned to leave. Obviously, there were so many people that it was impossible to kill them all. After everyone left, there was an even louder discussion. The paid posters left. The truth was in front of them. Who could say anything? The next morning, Zichen caused another sensation. He killed dozens of true essence experts from the three forces overnight. The news spread quickly and caused a huge commotion. The three forces wanted to kill Zichen. However, they didn't succeed. This attracted the attention of the three major sects in the 7 major cities. Zichen had undoubtedly become the brightest star of the younger generation. However, no one could give an accurate evaluation of his combat strength. Boom! Yukong rushed to the forest and started a carpet search. Buzz! The void trembled. A spiritual weapon appeared in the sky. It was a huge sword. It shone brightly and turned into a beam of light that was dozens of meters long. It rushed down to the forest below. The ancient trees were cut open easily like tofu. The mountains exploded when they met the beam of light. Even the sky and earth were shaking. There were more than a dozen Yukong. They attacked at the same time, trying to destroy the forest. This was a big move. They destroyed an entire forest for one person. Roar! A demonic beast that was about to reach the level of lesser demon roared. Its aura was violent, but it didn't dare to fight with Yukong. It turned and ran. Thousands of beasts screamed and fled in panic. Boom! A massive palm print appeared, and it was hundreds of meters wide. It covered the heavens and earth, and a destructive aura rippled out. As the palm print descended, everything below it dissipated along with the palm print. All living things were destroyed. Rocks were shattered. Ancient trees were turned into dust. Nothing was left intact under the palm print. This was a super big move. The three forces showed their combat strength to the world. More than a dozen Yukong cultivators appeared and destroyed the entire forest. Outside the forest, there were many true energy realm cultivators guarding. Not to mention a person. Even a fly couldn't fly past. Boom! On this day, the sky and earth trembled as if the end of the world had arrived. Demonic beasts screamed before their deaths. The Yukong cultivators stood in the air. Their eyes were cold and emotionless. Spiritual weapons appeared one after another, destroying everything in the world. Such a big movement naturally attracted the attention of many people. Seeing the ancient trees disappear and the mountains become flat ground, everyone was shocked. They were shocked by the big move of the three forces. Zichen watched from afar. His face was pale. Fortunately, he had left early. Otherwise, he would have died under such a carpet search. He would have been blasted to pieces like those ancient trees. The three forces have gone crazy. We can leave now. Amo's voice sounded. Even he was frightened. Let's go. Zichen smiled bitterly. It was estimated that there were many experts lying in ambush near Sangli City, waiting for him to escape. There were many people here, so he was safe. If he left this place and walked on the road where there were few people, he would definitely be in danger. The three forces had gone crazy, not only for the treasure, but also for their reputation. We can't go to Floating Snow City. If we can't, we can go to the ruins. That's our world. Emo suggested. Zichen had planned to go to Floating Snow City after visiting Lin Shui. However, he didn't expect that Floating Snow City would know that he had killed Chu Fei and Chu Xiong. His original plan was no longer feasible. The ruins was the last place he would go. This was what he had discussed with Zichen. After offending the major forces and making them lose face, they would go to the ruins. In one day, the forest was turned into a plain. Not a single living thing was left alive. The strength of the three forces was shocking. However, what shocked them more was their determination to kill Zichen. Is Zichen dead? Not even a fly flew out. If Zichen was in the forest, he wouldn't be alive. Everyone was guessing whether Zichen was dead or alive. However, when they returned to the town, they found that the reward of 10,000 vitality stones had become 20,000. The three forces added up to 60,000 vitality stones. 60,000 vitality stones could buy 6 red tiger spiritual beasts at the auction house. Such a high-profile reward had not been offered for hundreds of years. Zichen is good at disguising himself. Anyone who finds him suspicious can receive 10 vitality stones from the Flying Realm experts. At the same time, another piece of news appeared. Zichen's face turned pale. The three forces went crazy. They had arranged a Flying Realm expert in every town. This was really a big deal. The 20,000 vitality stones reward was shocking, crazy, and tempting. However, it wasn't fatal. No one knew Zichen. However, this small reward of 10 primordial stones was fatal. Anyone who was suspicious would be interrogated. Everyone went crazy and began to report all suspicious people. Furthermore, he had already flown into the air and swept down with his spiritual senses, preparing to conduct a carpet search. From now on, you can only enter and not leave. At the same time, a cold voice came from the sky. P.S. For those who don't believe that there are fake reviewers in the other world, it's just for fun. Recently, I've been watching So and So's news, and I'm about to be dumbfounded. There are new tricks every day. It's just a normal case, but after such a long time, it's almost turned into a mystery novel. Chapter 254. Every small town had a Yukong overseeing it. Near Tsongli City, within a few thousand li of Zichen, there were dozens of small towns, as well as many small villages. For the three powers to do this, it was obvious that they were completely infuriated by Zichen. On the same day, countless people were reported, and the three powers poured out their primeval stones like flowing water. At first, Yukong was very generous, but after scanning with a spiritual sense, he found that the suspicious person was not Zichen, so he took out the primeval stones and distributed them to everyone. But on the first day, there were hundreds of strangers in a small town, and on the second day, not only did the number not decrease, it even increased. On the third day, there was even a stream of people. What was even more ridiculous was that there were people who reported themselves as suspicious. For 10 primeval stones, everyone went crazy, and Yukong was also going crazy. He had never thought that the crowd would be so enthusiastic. And now, 7 days had passed. For 7 whole days, 10 primeval stones were sent out one after another. Yukong had already sent out a huge number, and the three powers had sent out an astronomical number. Sir, I've brought another person. This person is very sneaky and dishonest. I suspect that he's the person you're looking for. A young man at the 8th heavenly layer of true Qi grabbed a kid at the 3rd heavenly layer of true Qi and came in front of Yukong. You again. Yukong frowned when he saw the young man. Yes, sir, I'm here again. I specialize in serving the major powers. If there's anything, just say the word. The young man grinned and rubbed his hands on his clothes, looking at Yukong with a hopeful expression. All right, here you go. Yukong was a bit impatient and directly threw 10 primeval stones to the young man. He didn't even look at the kid at the 3rd heavenly layer. Thank you, sir. As for this one, the young man accepted the primeval stones with gratitude and pointed at the kid at the 3rd heavenly layer. Let him go. How can such a person be Zichen? Next time, find someone more reliable. Yukong said unhappily. Yes, yes. The young man quickly nodded and then grabbed the kid, saying, Hurry up and leave. Sir is angry. Why can't you be Zichen? The young man pulled the kid away, cursing. Humph. After the young man left, Yukong snorted coldly. If it wasn't for his powerful strength and noble status, he would have killed the young man with a slap. In these 7 days, other than cultivators, just mortals alone had delivered themselves to his doorstep. He even said that he was serving a major power, but he was obviously a liar. However, he was a dignified Zephyr, so he really couldn't argue with a mere true energy realm cultivator. But it was just a few pieces of origin stones. Yukong did not put them in his eyes and allowed them to leave. Who knew when the other party would discover a suspicious person? After all, he was a native of this place, a somewhat famous local ruffian. Walking to the edge of the town, the young man let go of the little guy in the third heaven and patted his wrinkled clothes. Here, this is your reward this time. The young man took out 10 origin stone fragments and handed them to the young man. Thank you, thank you. The little cultivator was very grateful. He took the primal stones and hurriedly left. Brother Luo, come here for a moment. Just then, someone called out from the corner. The young man turned around and saw a skinny young man waving at him with a wretched look on his face. I have a problem. The young man walked forward and said impatiently, Brother Luo, it's me, little Yan. The skinny young man laughed dryly with a face full of flattery. If you have something to say, say it quickly. I don't care if you have small eyes or small nose. The young man, called Brother Luo, was very impatient. Brother Luo, I am little Yan, not small eyes. I heard that you have a lot of connections recently. You actually made friends with a powerful expert of a major power. I am little Yan. The skinny young man hesitated for a moment and said, I also have a few people here. See if you can help. When the time comes, we will split it 50-50. What? Brother Luo stared. No, 60-40. I'll take 60 and you die. No, I'll take 40 and you'll take 60. Seeing Brother Luo's stare, the skinny young man immediately broke out in cold sweat and said, 730, 8291. I only want one. Hearing this, Brother Luo smiled and patted the skinny young man's face, saying, You are smart. I'll take 80-20 then. I wonder what good stuff you have. The skinny young man, called Little Yan's eyes suddenly lit up. He quickly said, Of course there is good stuff. Brother Luo, please wait for a moment. I will go and find it now. All right, go ahead. Brother Luo smiled faintly and watched the young man leave. The skinny young man turned around and walked briskly. As he ran, he muttered to himself, I heard that Brother Luo's temperament has changed greatly recently. He is more humane and easy to talk to. It is indeed true. He is actually willing to give me 10% more. He was only muttering softly. Although he was already very far away, Brother Luo still heard him. Brother Luo Ba, isn't he just a local ruffian who bullies the good and the evil? When the skinny young man was far away, the smile on Brother Luo's face disappeared. He cursed in his heart. The real Brother Luo had already met the Grim Reaper. The real Zi Qin had become the fake Brother Luo. That day, when the great powers used this trick, it almost scared Zi Qin to death. Fortunately, Elder Hiroshi came up with an idea. The old saying was true. He had Zi Qin catch a local ruffian and then had a few hours of heart-to-heart talk with him. He told him everything from when he was young to when he grew up. In the end, he sent the ruffian on his way. This was a bad guy. He did not do good things since he was young. At the age of 6, he stole chickens and dogs. At the age of 7, he got into fights. At the age of 8, he cut people with a knife. When he grew up and became a cultivator, he became worse. He took advantage of the village and did all kinds of evil. It could be said that he was evil to the bone. Zi Chen did not feel guilty about killing him. During this time, Zi Chen wanted to leave the town several times. However, he was reminded by Elder Hiroshi to not act rashly by using his consciousness to lock the surroundings. Therefore, Zi Chen began to look for suspicious people. In the past few days, he made a small profit, at least a few hundred primordial stones. Brother Luo, they're here. It didn't take long for the skinny kid from before to bring some people over. But when Zi Chen saw them, he was so angry that his nose almost went crooked. The person he brought was actually a woman, and a middle-aged woman at that. With a sweep of his consciousness, he found that she had no spiritual energy at all. She was still immortal. Are you fucking courting death? Zichin opened his eyes wide and shouted angrily, "Brother Luo, they're suspicious people. They all came from a small village a few dozen miles away. Their identities are unknown," said the skinny kid. Slap. But before he could finish his sentence, he was slapped across the face. "Are you King stupid or just pretending to be stupid? It's written on the wanted poster that it's a man. Why did you King find some women? Are you trying to kill me on purpose?" Zichan glared, imitating Brother Luo. He looked fierce, but that was only to frighten ordinary people. In the eyes of a Xiantian cultivator, he was completely stupid. Didn't he want suspicious people? The skinny kid felt wronged. Suspicious my ass. Fuck off. Let me tell you, if you want to die, don't drag me down with you. Do you think it's so easy to earn keystones from big powers? Zichin scolded the skinny, monkey-like man. Then he looked at the women and gave them some origin stone fragments before asking them to leave. Furthermore, Zichan warned Brother Luo not to have any ideas about big powers. This was just a small town, but there were people like Brother Luo and Brother Luo. Adding up the other towns, there naturally wouldn't be any less. The big powers' key stones were like flowing water every day. Just thinking about this kind of consumption made people click their tongues. In the blink of an eye, 10 days passed. Zichin still didn't have any clues. All the suspicious people had been investigated, and they hadn't found anything in the forest. But Brother Luo's purse was getting smaller and smaller. Even if they were rich and overbearing, they still couldn't supply all the suspicious people. After another 3 days, a total of 13 days, the reward for the suspicious people was completely cancelled. During these 13 days, the 3 powers had given out hundreds of thousands of keystones. Even if it was divided evenly, each family still had to pay more than 100,000. The reward of 10 keystones was cancelled, and at the same time, the arrest warrant for Zichin was cancelled. It seemed that the 3 powers had given up. However, Zichin didn't believe it. He was going to leave Songli City now. Previously, Zichin had already decided to leave Songli City and go as far as possible. The current him didn't have the means to challenge the big powers. This kind of small fight would only make the big powers angry, but it wouldn't really hurt them. His next destination was Yongqi City, which was north of Songli City. North of Songli City was the ruins, but after going around the ruins, 10,000 miles away was Yongqi City, which was also one of the 7 major cities. Zichin, I'll wait for you in Songli City. Let's fight to the death on the Qin beheading stage. No matter who wins or loses, the grudge between our Li family and you will be written off. Li Hao's words that day were very domineering and filled with pride, but it was met with disdain. The last Qin beheading assembly had caused the 3 powers to lose all face and prestige. Idiot, going to Songli City? Is there something wrong with my head? When Zichin heard this news, he curled his lips in disdain. Right now, he was like a bird flying in the sky and a fish swimming in the sea. The world was so big he could go anywhere. Why would he go to Songli City to find trouble? Zichin, Songmeng, also declare that we will fight on the Qin beheading stage. From then on, the grudge between you and the Tsong family will be written off. Songmeng also declared that day. Idiot. Zichin still sneered and didn't even turn his head. Zichin, Wu Yuan, will wait for you on the Qin beheading stage. After the battle, the martial ancestor will have no more grudges with you. Wu Yuan also spoke at the same time. Pa, my Zichen's goal in life is to destroy your martial ancestor. We will fight to the death. Zichin didn't believe it at all. The 3 powers' words were like farts, and what they did was inhumane. Going to Songli City, going to the Qin beheading stage. Just by hearing the name, he knew that they didn't plan to let him go. Whether it was Zichin or the rogue cultivators, they didn't believe it. Instead, they mocked the 3 powers, saying that such a despicable method wouldn't work a second time. If I want to go to Songli City, I must be crazy. Zichen looked in the direction of Tsangli City and sneered. He turned and walked towards the ruins. I'm coming to the ruins. I'm coming to Yongqi City. Zichen finally left. But on this day, a shocking piece of news was transmitted. The genius gathering that happened once in 100 years would be held in Tsangli City. At that time, the geniuses of the 7 major cities and 3 major sects would all be there, including the monstrous geniuses of the major powers. Chapter 255. The gathering of geniuses that occurred once every 100 years was considered a grand event in the southern region. All the geniuses from the 7 major cities and 3 major sects would participate. It could be described as a gathering of geniuses, a gathering of monsters, and a gathering of outstanding geniuses. Of course, there was no lack of sparring and competition. Friendship came first, and competition came second. The gathering of geniuses. Zichen was slightly startled after hearing the news, but he did not stay for a second longer and was about to leave. What did the gathering of geniuses have to do with him? It had nothing to do with a single primary stone fragment. His life was more important now. However, the news caused an uproar in the outside world. The rogue cultivators who knew about the gathering of geniuses were even more shocked. Apart from the fact that the gathering of geniuses was taking place, they were even more shocked by the timing of the gathering. It was held once every 100 years and had been held for generations. However, it was different this time. It had not even been 100 years since the gathering of geniuses had started. At most, it had only been 90 years. The gathering of geniuses was 10 years away. This had never happened before. However, this gathering of geniuses seemed to be a little unusual. While the news caused an uproar, an even more shocking news appeared. The 3 major sects of the 7 major cities had issued a joint statement inviting Zichen to participate. The southern region was vast and boundless. Many cultivators would not be able to travel through it in their lifetime. Even those who could fly could only travel within a radius of 1,000,000 miles around the 7 major cities. However, there was no doubt that the 3 major sects of the 7 major cities represented the strongest forces within 1,000,000 miles. They were also the rulers. At this moment, these forces had issued a joint statement inviting Zichen to participate in the gathering of geniuses. This was a great honor. It was the first time in 10,000 years that something like this had happened. Who would have thought that it would be given to Zichen? A few years ago, the geniuses of the younger generation were extremely popular. However, in the past 2 years, Zichen had appeared out of nowhere and caused the other forces to lose face. The martial ancestor, the Tsang family, the Li family, the Wang family, and the Heavenly Slaughter Pavilion were all forces that had dealt with Zichen before. Not only that, the Tsang and Li families, as well as the martial ancestor, were repeatedly slapped in the face by Zichen. The experts of the 3 forces were all out, but none of them could do anything to Zichen. Therefore, no one could give an accurate conclusion as to who was the strongest among the younger generation. However, if one were to talk about who was the most famous, it would naturally be Zichen. If one were to vote for the most popular person, Zichen was definitely worthy of the title. He had been accompanied by miracles throughout his journey. When he was in the true energy realm, he was hunted down by the imperial air realm. He was chased all the way until he reached the true energy realm. Yet he was still alive. Putting aside his strength, his ability to survive was something that none of the freaks could compare to. If they were in the same situation, they would not dare to say that they would survive. However, not only was Zichen alive, but his strength was also increasing. In just a few years, he had broken through from the true energy realm to the true energy realm. Such a cultivation, speed, made others blush with shame. After the various forces jointly sent out the invitations, the crowd was in an uproar. Only then did they understand why the gathering of geniuses was held 10 years earlier. It was all for Zichen. They clearly know that Zichen has enmity with the various major forces, yet they still invited him. Could it be that they want to resolve the enmity for Zichen? Could it be that the major forces have taken pity on him and want to protect Zichen? All sorts of guesses were made. Qin, no matter the outcome of the battle at the decapitating Qin stage, all enmity will be written off. Li Hao spoke once again. His tone was strong and his pride soared. This time, no one looked down on him. Many people fell into deep thought. I, Tsangmeng, will also wait for you at the decapitating Qin stage. As long as you dare to appear after the battle, all enmity will be written off. Tsangmeng spoke in a similarly high-profile manner. The same goes for my martial ancestor. Wu Yuan spoke as well. The three monstrous geniuses of the three major forces spoke once again. This time, no one looked down on them, no one mocked them, and no one thought that it was a trap. Everyone fell into deep thought. My Li family is a major force. We will naturally do what we say. If we say that we will not pursue the matter, then we will not pursue the matter. Just as the crowd was deep in thought, a senior member of the Li family spoke. This time he represented the Li family and said such words. Oh my God! Could it be that there is really a major force that has taken pity on Qin and wants to protect him? Just a battle and all enmity will be written off. The words of the Li family shook the world. Cultivators of our generation have always defied the heavens. The conflicts of the younger generation should be settled by the younger generation. After this battle, Qin will no longer have any enmity with the Tsang family. An elder of the Tsang family said such words in Tsang Li City. That must be it. There is a major force that has taken pity on him. I wonder which force it is. Among the 7 major cities and the 3 major sects, Qin has had some conflicts with many forces. There are only a few forces left. Which one could it be? Everyone was guessing, and at the same time they were waiting for the martial ancestor to speak. Everyone knew that among the major forces, Qin had the biggest conflict with the martial ancestor. The martial ancestor had destroyed the Nimbus martial ancestor and sent someone to kill Qin when he was still in the true Qi realm. All of this was for the treasure in Qin's hands. This time, it seemed that there was a major force that had taken pity on Yi Futian. They wondered if the martial ancestor had bowed his head. My martial ancestor is the same. Once Qin enters the battle stage, our enmity will be written off. From now on, I will not have any ideas about him. Just as the crowd was anticipating the martial ancestor, a powerful expert said such words. On this day, the world was in an uproar. Qin, who was the talk of the town, who had done many big things and humiliated the 3 major forces, actually wanted to use this method to resolve their enmity. It was just a battle. For a moment, everyone's gossipy heart was ignited. Who was the one that had taken pity on him? Among the 7 major cities, there was the Yun Xiaowang family, the Fluttering Snow Chu family, the Zhongli Tu families, the Yongqi Lu family, the Lingyao Zhu family, the Danyangqin family, and the Letian city. The 3 major sects were the martial ancestor, the assassins, and the Guangyue. Qin had enmity with 5 of the major forces, so only the other 5 were left. It's definitely not the Guangyue. The Guangyue pavilion is full of women. Could it be that a female cultivator has taken a fancy to Qin? It can't be Letian city. It's the furthest from the Tsangli city, and there is no major force in Letian city. Everyone is fighting for the position of city lord. Who would pay attention to Qin? Then it can't be the other major forces. They are all so far away, and they have nothing to do with Qin. No matter how they thought about it, they could not figure out who was the one who wanted to protect Qin. Could it be the Wang family? The Wang family. They can't wait to kill him. That day, Qin broke Wang Shan's teeth. I'm talking about the miss of the Wang family. I heard that when the martial ancestor was chasing after Qin, Wang Xianer intervened. The 2 of them escaped together and seemed to have an ambiguous relationship. Many people had heard about the matter between Qin and Wang Xianer. Moreover, Wang Shan was extremely frightened that day and called Qin his brother-in-law. This also caused many people to speculate. At this moment, Everyone was guessing the relationship between Zi Qin and Wang Xianer. There were even some people who were ignited with the flames of gossip. One must know that Wang Xianer was not only a demon, but also a beauty. Gossip about a beauty naturally couldn't be missed. Should I go or not? Just as the group of cultivators were gossiping about him and Wang Xianer, Zi Qin was in a dilemma. This was a great opportunity to bury the hatchet with these major forces. Naturally, there would be many benefits. Of course, the martial ancestor was not included. This was a sect that he had to annihilate. All the major forces had jointly issued an invitation. Everyone felt that this was an honor. Only Zi Chen was frowning. This might be a trap. He was the person involved and had many things to think about. They want you to go to the beheading Qin platform. Just from the name, you can tell that they don't intend to let you live. If you die there, there won't be any conflict. Old Mo appeared from the Taiji diagram. Since they made such a high-profile announcement, they naturally have strong confidence. Moreover, those 3 demons are insufferably arrogant and feel that they can kill you. If you die, the grudges will naturally be resolved. Die. Zi Chen lifted his head and looked at Mo. He said, Old Mo, do you think I'm not their match? You have the perfect body and the yin-yang art. As long as there are no problems with your yin-yang at the critical moment, you can still preserve your life. Your chances of winning are also 50%. However, are they really willing to let you go? Mo asked. Then what do they mean this time? All of them made such a high-profile announcement in front of the world. Also, why did the 7 major forces and 3 major sects invite me? Mo shook his head and said, I don't know either. Perhaps some of the major forces really pity you and don't want a demon like you to die just like that. Then should I go or not? If you go, your life will be in danger. Even if you kill the 3 demons, you might not be able to survive. You know the credibility of the 3 major forces best. If you don't go, you will only miss an opportunity and will not suffer any substantial losses. Furthermore, you have conflicts with the major forces now because you are too weak. As long as you become strong enough, all the conflicts will not be considered conflicts. Mo analyzed. Then I won't go. Fate is still in my own hands. How can I use my life to gamble on the credibility of others? Zi Qin stood up, his eyes flashing. He had already decided to leave. Let's go to Yongqi City. Zi Qin made up his mind. However, the major forces seemed to have guessed Zi Chen's actions and spoke again. Zi Qin, we are sincerely inviting you. In the southern region, there are only 7 major cities and 3 major sections. Don't worry, no one will do anything to you. Another message came from Tsanli City. However, this time it made Zi Qin frown. In the southern region, there were only 7 major cities and 3 major sections. In other words, the 7 major cities and 3 major sects had the final say here. If Zi Chen rejected the invitation this time, he would indirectly offend all the major forces. In the future, the only way for Zi Chen to survive was to find a secluded valley and cultivate day and night. Perhaps thousands of years later, he would become an expert and intimidate all the major forces. Perhaps in a few decades, Zi Chen would have no resources and his cultivation level would be slow. As a result, his lifespan would be nearing its end. Chapter 256. Zi Chen was caught in a dilemma. The 7 major forces and 3 major sects were like a mountain pressing down on his head, making it hard for him to breathe. Zi Chen was already overwhelmed by the 3 major forces, not to mention all the major forces in the southern region. If he really offended them, Zi Chen could only die of old age in the mountains in the future. As for leaving the southern region, that was even more of a dream. With his legs, he couldn't run out even if he ran until his legs broke. Elder Hiroshi, do you think I should go or not? Elder Hiroshi also had no idea and fell into contemplation. Going is dangerous. Not going is even more dangerous. Elder Hiroshi shook his head. Unfortunately, you're too weak. A man and a soul fell into a dilemma. The invitations of the 7 major cities and 3 major sects also contained some threats, making Ziqin unable to determine whether they were being kind or not. It shouldn't be. They're all major forces, and they value face very much. Even if they don't want 1 or 2, they still want the others. They won't gang up to deceive you. Besides, if you really don't go, I'm afraid you won't have a place to hide in the future. If the 7 major cities and 3 major sects are determined to find someone, you'll have to go into the mountains and forests where there's no human habitation. Furthermore, it's not like everyone can't see through your ability to change your appearance. There are always some special people in this world with some special techniques. That monk is not simple. I suspect that he can see through your true appearance. In the end, Elder Hiroshi said, "Go, but don't show your true face. Go to Tsangli City first, and take a look. Be careful. If you find something wrong, blend into the crowd and escape." Ziqin nodded. That was the only thing he could do now. Moreover, the major forces only spread such a sentence and didn't force him. Ziqin turned back and walked towards Tsangli City. The gathering of geniuses was considered a grand event in the southern region, so it naturally attracted many young talents. Furthermore, apart from the major powers, it was also possible for other people to participate. There were not many restrictions. Just participate. Of course, geniuses in their 70s and 80s were excluded. Along the way, Ziqin saw many cultivators walking in groups. He blended into the crowd and headed towards the Tsangli City. "Hey, friend, what's your name?" a young cultivator asked. He was also alone. "Aluo." Ziqin smiled kindly. "That's a good name. I'm Atian. Looks like we're really fated." The young man was smiling. He wasn't very old, perhaps even younger than Ziqin. His features were delicate and pretty, and he wore a smile on his face. His personality was very cheerful. Ziqin smiled and didn't say anything else. Obviously, he wasn't used to chatting with a stranger, but Atian was very cheerful and always had a smile on his face. "You're from Tsangli City, right?" Atian was very talkative. Just like any other young man, he loved to gossip and ask questions that Ziqin couldn't answer. "Oh yes, when I came here, they were all talking about Ziqin and Wang Xianer. Can you tell me more about it? I heard that the 2 of them have an ambiguous relationship." Tian smiled mysteriously. "You know Ziqin?" Ziqin looked at Tian and his expression changed. Tian shook his head and continued smiling. "I don't know him." "Then you know Wang Xian, Tian continued, shaking his head and smiling. "I don't know her. I heard that Wang Xian is as beautiful as a fairy. She's a demon with strong combat strength." When she got to know Ziqin was only at the true energy realm, but he actually managed to capture the heart of a demon at the true energy realm. There must be something interesting going on. Tian was very cheerful, but he had a gossipy heart. The fire of gossip was burning in his heart. Ziqin was helpless. Along the way, he had heard a lot about Wang Xianer. Some of the rumors were more or less based on facts, while some were based on wild imagination. Ziqin wasn't willing to answer this question. He could only say, "I don't know." But in his heart, he thought of that beautiful figure. It was just that the 2 of them met was too different from the rumors. Back then, he had almost killed her, but she was also the one who wouldn't let go of me. Thinking of the past, Ziqin smiled. "You're drooling. You must be thinking of a woman." A cry of surprise woke Ziqin from his thoughts. Tian was staring at him. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Ziqin glared at Tian. "You're still denying it. If you're not thinking of a woman, why is there saliva at the corner of your mouth?" "No, don't talk nonsense." Ziqin wiped his mouth without a trace. Indeed, there was no saliva. Tian laughed. Tian's personality was very cheerful, and he was very friendly. He always had a smile on his face, but when night fell, Ziqin would feel that Tian's body would emit a lonely aura. He was like a lonely old wolf, licking his wounds in the night. Along the way, there was almost no danger. Zi-Chin just treated a Tian as a passerby, an ordinary friend. When they reached Songli City, they parted ways. But what he never expected was that a Tian's battle strength was comparable to a monstrous genius. It was a very melodramatic scene. On the road, the two of them met an unreasonable playboy who said that the two of them were blocking their way. The road was wide, but it was not wide enough for the playboy's strange beast to walk through. The other party was aggressive and unreasonable. Zi-Chin frowned. He did not want to cause trouble now, as he was afraid of exposing his identity. Tian kept laughing, but when his smile disappeared, he quickly attacked. Pow! Pow! With a simple push and a pull, the guard behind the wastrel was knocked down. This was the wastrel's trump card. Both of them were at the sixth sky of true energy. As for the wastrel, he was knocked down by the force, falling down like a dog eating mud. Zi-Chin blushed with shame at being able to take down the two of them so easily. He knew that he could at most kill the two of them, but it was impossible for him to take down the two of them so easily. Clearly, a Tian was hiding his strength. All right, let's go. A smile appeared on a Tian's face again. You're not from Songli City? Zi-Chin suddenly asked. This was the first time he asked a Tian. Yes, I am from Letian City. A Tian smiled. Letian City. Zi-Chin frowned. Letian City was at the northernmost part of the southern continent. As for how far it was, Zi-Chin did not know. It was said that it was very far, and there was a legend that if one went north from Letian City, they would be able to leave the southern continent. You are here to join the Genius Gathering. I came out to relax and happened to come across this gathering. I found it interesting, so I came to take a look. A Tian smiled. As they approached Songli City, Zi-Chin saw more and more cultivators. Almost all of them were at the True Essence realm. They were all rushing to Songli City. Damn it, get out of my way. I'm talking to you. Get out of my way. There were many people at the city gate, and it was a little crowded. However, as soon as Zi-Chin arrived, he heard a familiar voice. Damn it! How dare you block the way? Beat him until his teeth fall out. Then kneel on the ground and call me brother-in-law. A familiar voice, a familiar tone. Wang Shan was still as arrogant and domineering. What are you looking at? Get out of my way. If you delay this young master from entering the city, I will beat you all until you kneel on the ground and call me brother-in-law. Wang Shan's small eyes suddenly widened, looking fierce. In Yunxia City, the word brother-in-law was almost the same as Wang Shan, becoming a nightmare. However, the playboy Wang Shan did not change his nature in Songli City. This is Yunxia City's Wang Shan. Let's go. Yunxia City's playboy. His father is Wang Jinwei. In Yunxia City, his combat strength is ranked in the top 3. Some people whispered and then hurriedly left. Obviously, they did not want to provoke this lord. This guy is still so arrogant, Zi-Chin secretly said. However, he did not pay attention to it. Now he had to enter the city and inquire about everything. Songli City was a big city with a large number of people and endless traffic. This time, the Genius Gathering was very lively. Even the spacious streets were slightly crowded. The place of the Genius Gathering is in the square of Songli City. It is said that the people of Yunxia City have already arrived. Just now, I saw Wang Shan outside, beating a cultivator. His teeth fell out, and he was kneeling on the ground and calling him brother-in-law. Martial ancestor is the closest to here. It is said that the evildoers have already arrived, and there are 2 of them. As soon as he entered the city, there were discussions everywhere. Almost without deliberately asking, Zi-Chin knew the place of the Genius Gathering. In the center of Songli City was a large square that covered an area of several miles. Some small battles in the city would be held here. As soon as he arrived, Zi-Chin saw a 20-meter-high platform that many cultivators were building. On the platform, there were 3 eye-catching, blood-red words. Chin Beheading Platform. Obviously, this platform was built for Zichen. It was 20 meters high, and the other platforms were only 10 meters high. These three evildoers are really confident. Zichen's eyes flashed with a cold light. There was still some time before the genius gathering began, and some of the evildoers had not yet appeared. During this time, Zichen could cultivate in peace. The inn was almost full, so Zichen rented a room for cultivation at a high price. A piece of primeval stone contained dense primeval energy. Once a cultivator refined it, they could absorb it. Zichen sat cross-legged, his body emitting a golden light that illuminated the room. He placed a primeval stone in each of his hands and absorbed its energy. Pa! Pa! With two light sounds, the primeval stones were completely absorbed. They turned into powder and fell to the ground. Zichen's hand flashed and took out two more primeval stones. Others absorbed the primeval stones one by one, and it would take a long time to absorb one. But Zichen only needed a few hours to finish. Although breaking through consumed a lot of energy, if there were enough resources, it would not be difficult for Zichen to improve his strength quickly. During the day, Zichen would go around the square to see what kind of people were coming. Songli City was thriving. Both Songli family and Songli family did not do anything excessive. All the experts had withdrawn, and the two evildoers seemed to be in seclusion and did not appear recently. During this period of time, more and more people had gathered in the city, and Zichen had also found some familiar faces. After King Mountain, Zichen saw Lu Bo. He was from Yunxia City's Lu family, but his overall strength was not comparable to Yongqi's Lu family. The two were not on the same level. In addition to Lu Bo, Zichen also saw Miao Kong's shadow in another morning. Chapter 257. After taking 2 steps, Zichen stopped because he saw that Miao Kong did not come alone. Beside him, there was an unfamiliar young man. This was a very special man. His slightly curly long hair was casually draped behind his head. He looked carefree and unruly. He had bright eyes and white teeth, and he was wearing a loose robe. Walking beside Miao Kong, he looked very lazy. It was such a lazy young man that gave Zichen a sense of danger. Could he be the second demon from the martial ancestor? Zichen frowned and did not rush forward. At this moment, there was a commotion in the crowd. "Get lost! All of you get lost! Get lost!" This was Wang Shan's voice. At this moment, his loud voice was very ear-piercing and caused a commotion. Zichen frowned. This guy was really like a ghost that wouldn't go away. His voice could be heard everywhere, and he was so arrogant. It was as if he was afraid that everyone didn't know that he was a silk pants, a prodigal second generation. Just as his gaze swept across the crowd, Zichen's body trembled, and his pupils shrank. A beautiful figure appeared in Zichen's sight. She was like a fairy, incomparably cute. Her long eyelashes fluttered, and she was like a curious baby looking around. It was Wang Xianer, the beautiful and talented demon. She was wearing a red robe, and she was like a little fairy jumping around, attracting the attention of countless people. After a few years, she had become even more attractive. "Wang Xianer," Zichen murmured softly. It had been more than 2 years since they parted in the small village. Wang Xianer had changed from a slender and elegant little girl to a beautiful young lady. She was sought after by tens of thousands of people. Almost everyone's gaze fell on Wang Xianer, and there were a few rapid breathing sounds in the crowd. "Wang Xianer! She is Wang Xianer, the demon of Yunxia City. It is indeed her. She is indeed a beauty. The rumors are true. Her talent is outstanding, and her appearance is even more stunning. Could she be the one who has an ambiguous relationship with Zichen? She is such a beauty. What a pity. A fresh flower is stuck in cow dung." Low sighs sounded from the crowd. Many people were dejected. Of course, there were also many females in the crowd. Their gazes did not land on Wang Xian. Instead, they looked at the slender young man beside her. His black hair was like a waterfall, and his eyes were like the morning light. His disposition was outstanding, and even when he was with Wang Xian, he wouldn't be neglected. He was Wang Qiong, recognized as the #1 monstrous genius of Red Cloud City. His battle prowess was formidable, and he had stepped into the true element boundary at the age of 19. After so many years, no one knew how far Wang Qiong had walked in the true element boundary. "Get out of the way." Wang Shan's voice could be heard once again, leading the way for them. However, his words were completely unnecessary. When everyone saw the two of them, they consciously made way for them. Many female cultivators stared at the handsome Wang Qiong with love-struck expressions. As for the male cultivators, they stared at Wang Xian, with adoration as they watched her walk forward. The three of them stepped forward and just happened to meet Miao Kong. Miao Kong kindly smiled, but the eyes of the lazy man beside him fell on Wang Qiong. Wang Qiong sensed something, and his eyes that resembled Xingqian looked over with twinkling stars. The two of them looked at each other for 2 seconds before shifting their gazes away. They didn't speak to each other, and both of them walked forward. Chen didn't want to expose his identity, so he only looked over from the crowd. "This is the decapitating Qin platform." Wang Xian's light voice could be heard, like the chirping of an oriole. It was pleasing to the ears. Her beautiful eyes stared at the glaring scarlet words on the decapitating Qin platform. No one spoke. Rumors about Chen and Wang Xian had already spread. Some said that Wang Xian and Chen had done something in the past. At this moment, no one dared to be unlucky, and all of them tactfully kept their mouths shut. Wang Qiong frowned. He hated Chen, both in the past and now. He was infuriated by those rumors, and he couldn't wait to kill everyone. This time, Wang Xian wanted to come here to see the decapitating Qin platform. However, he couldn't resist Wang Xian's insistence, so he had no choice but to come. However, he put on a cold face, as though everyone owed him money. "That's right, this is the place to kill Chen." Suddenly, a voice came from the crowd. A small commotion broke out in the crowd, and at this moment a young man walked forward. He had a handsome face, wore a blue shirt, and looked extremely valiant. He walked over slowly with a smile on his face. He was Li Hao from the Li clan. "Kill Chen." Wang Xian wrinkled her nose and was a little unhappy. She asked, "You are very confident. I wonder where your confidence comes from. As long as Chen dares to appear, I will naturally be able to kill him. This isn't a matter of confidence, but strength." Li Hao laughed. Wang Xian was unhappy. Beside her, Wang Shan also frowned. This guy was even more arrogant than him, and this made him unhappy. This was because even Wang Shan didn't dare to say that he could kill Chen. Shameless boasting. Wang Shan snorted. He was very disgusted by Li Hao, who was even more arrogant than him. "Why are you talking about a dying man here?" "Miss Xian, Brother Wang Qiong, it's rare for you to come to Songli City. Today I'll be the host. Let's go to the guest house for a gathering. There are also a few demons coming along." Li Hao smiled and ignored Wang Shan. "Humph." Wang Xian wrinkled her nose and snorted. She pouted and turned to leave. "I believe that Chen won't die." Wang Xian added when she was about to walk out of the crowd. "I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint Miss Xian. Chen will definitely die this time unless he doesn't appear. However, if he rejects the invitations of the 7 major forces and 3 major sects, there will be no place for him in the southern region." Li Hao said loudly, "He will definitely come." Wang Xian pouted and left. She was very dissatisfied. Wang Qiong nodded slightly at Li Hao, then turned to leave. "What the F***ck are you looking at? Haven't you seen the beauty and the beast, the handsome guy, and the scum? Humph, making a fuss over nothing." Wang Shan curled his lips and turned to leave, leaving behind a group of dumbfounded people and an ashen-faced Li Hao. Obviously, the beast and the scum were describing him. Wang Shan's talent was not bad, but he was too lazy to cultivate. After he obtained the inheritance in the training ground, he regained a lot of advantages among the direct descendants of the clan. His confidence was off the charts, and this made him even more arrogant and despotic. He even dared to mock the demons of the Li clan. He even dares to mock Li Hao. This is what a spoiled brat should be like. How arrogant must he be to be able to say such words without any scruples? Everyone was speechless. None of them dared to speak. Even if they were shocked, they could only keep it in their hearts. Humph! Li Hao snorted and left with a cold face. TSK, what a joke! Wang Shan curled his lips in disdain. In the southern region, there were only 7 major forces and 3 major sections. Only Tsongli City had 2 clans, but to the outside world, it was just 1 major force. Wang Shan was naturally not afraid of a major force that was divided into 2. This guy is getting more and more arrogant, but I like it. Zi Chen found Wang Shan pleasing to the eye. She deliberately told me to come this time. Looking at Wang Xian's back, Zi Chen frowned. Evidently, Wang Xian also didn't know that he was here. However, she still said such words. Recently, the gossip about the 2 of them had been turned upside down. Now that Wang Xian expressed her stance, it was obvious that it would cause another round of discussion. Naturally, her words could be transmitted. Wang Xian said that Zi Chen will definitely come. While he was pondering, a cultivator quickly passed on the news. Obviously, this news would spread out of Tsongli City in a few hours and spread to various places. Maybe there really is a major force protecting you. She said that because she wants you to come, and she is definitely not acting on impulse. Mo's voice sounded. Okay, Zi Chen nodded, but he was still worried and did not dare to show up. In the following time, the geniuses of various major forces arrived one after another. As for the geniuses, there were more and more. Many people were talking about Zi Chen, guessing if and when Zi Chen would appear. Buzz. The void trembled, and a terrifying aura appeared in the sky. An expert came from the sky, and every step he took would cause the world to tremble. Haha, Brother Wang, long time no see. At the same time, a hearty laugh spread throughout Tsongli City. A figure flew out from the city and greeted him. Brother Tsong, you are too polite. The cultivator named Brother Wang cupped his fists and flew down from the sky. The 2 entered the guest house. Zi Chen saw this scene from afar, and his heart skipped a beat. It was Wang Jinwei, an expert of Yunxia City. It was said that this person was the most promising person in recent years to become a grandmaster. Wang Jinwei was the first big shot to arrive, but he was not the last. In the next few days, experts came one after another, and every time they appeared, they would be received by the forces of Tsongli City. The people who came were all prominent figures from the major forces. Zi Chen slowly felt relieved. With these experts here, it seemed that they really wanted to protect him this time. But Zi Chen did not know why. The people of Piaoxue Chu clan came. They were 2 geniuses, like a pair of golden boy and jade girl. However, the cold aura around them was intimidating. No one would be willing to be with 2 blocks of ice, even if one of them was an ice beauty. Yongqi Lu family only had 1 monstrous talent, but there were many geniuses. This was a big family with unique refining methods. Relying on refining methods, they could become one of the 7 major forces. It could be seen that they were very extraordinary. The Danyangqin clan had also sent 2 monstrous geniuses. Moreover, they were twins. Both of them had monstrous battle prowess. But the most extraordinary thing was that the 2 of them had telepathy and knew a kind of joint attack technique. If they were to fight against each other, no one would be able to defeat the twins. The Zhu clan of Lingyao only sent 1 genius. As for Guangyu, it was a sect that only had women and no men. However, 7 or 8 beautiful women had come. Moreover, as soon as they appeared, they started chattering like birds that had flown out of their cages. Everything they saw was new and interesting. This caused many people to guess whether they were here to participate in the gathering of geniuses or to go sightseeing to find a husband. There were many legends about the Guangyu Pavilion in the southern region. First of all, there were only women in the Guangyu Pavilion and no men. They were brought to the Guangyu Pavilion since they were young, and some would even stay there for their whole lives. Very few of them could go out. Only when the current generation's geniuses entered the world to gain experience would they have the chance to come out. Of course, there was also a very beautiful legend. The women in the Guangyu Pavilion would find someone they liked and have a relationship with. When they were pregnant, they would return to the Guangyu Pavilion. If it was a girl, she would be kept and nurtured. If it was a boy, he would be sent out to be adopted by some mortals. The Guangyu Pavilion was filled with mysterious colors. There were many beautiful legends circulating, and also many sad and beautiful love stories. Zichen, he is Zichen. Chapter 258. In just half a month, almost all the geniuses from the 7 major cities and the 3 major sects had arrived, except for Zichen. Zichen was the first wandering cultivator to be invited by so many major sects in the past 10,000 years. Naturally, he was the focus of everyone's discussion. Now, in Songli City, almost everyone was guessing whether Zichen would come or not. Wang Xian once said that Zichen would definitely come, but the gathering is about to begin. I think he should be here soon. Everyone was full of anticipation, wanting to see this genius that had attracted the attention of so many major sections. Zichen, that trash, must be scared. That's right. He's just a wandering cultivator who can occasionally challenge those of a higher level. How can he be a match for a genius nurtured by a major sect? I also think he's scared if he doesn't show up. What genius? He's just a coward. At the same time, such discordant voices appeared in Songli City, and they were not few in number. Obviously, some people were deliberately provoking him. Many major sects and experts arrived one after another, but no one mentioned Zichen again, as if they had forgotten about Zichen. It didn't matter whether he came or not. When will Zichen appear? Many geniuses gathered, wanting to see Zichen. They wanted to see this person who had offended so many major sects at the same time. It's about time. Over the past few days, Zichen had seen quite a number of experts arriving on the streets and alleys. Almost all of them had arrived. Apart from the 3 geniuses, the Tsang and Li clans and the martial ancestor sect did not utter any harsh words. Zichen and old Mo both felt that it was time. Zichen, he's Zichen. On this day, there was a commotion at the city gate. Zichen's portrait was hung all over the streets, small towns, and villages. Now that Zichen appeared, he was naturally recognized. It's indeed Zichen, just like in the portrait, but more handsome and elegant. He's Zichen, the one that the 3 powers offered a bounty of 60,000 yuan stones to find. There was a lot of discussion in the crowd. Many people were loudly shouting Zichen's name. They were very enthusiastic. He's Zichen, the one who caused all 3 factions to suffer losses. He's still alive and well. None of the 3 forces could do anything to him. The discordant voice rang out once again. This time, it sounded somewhat provocative. Zichen frowned. These days, there were always such people in Songli City. The city gate was instantly congested. Many people wanted to see Zichen's elegant demeanor, and occasionally there would be incidents of trampling and shoving. Zichen smiled faintly and strode into Songli City. Zichen is here to fight the 3 freaks. Zichen is making a high-profile comeback. He's going to kill the 3 freaks. 3 freaks, just you wait. Zichen can cause your families to suffer losses. Naturally, he can also kill you. After Zichen appeared, voices rang out in the surroundings. They seemed to be supporting Zichen, but there was also a hint of provocation. Zichen furrowed his brows and scanned the surroundings. It was obvious that they weren't from a major power, but someone else who wanted him dead. A cold light flashed in Zi Chen's eyes, and he sped up. He didn't want to argue with these people. Zi Chen's appearance soon spread to Songli City. Many people rushed over, wanting to see the demeanor of the popular king. Zi Chen was wearing a black robe and had a slender figure. He walked on the street, surrounded by many fanatical cultivators. Zi Chen. The first to arrive was naturally Miao Kong. He was the only brother that Zi Chen trusted so far, even if the latter was the martial ancestor's man. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Miao Kong didn't care about the identity of the martial ancestor and gave Zi Chen a big bear hug. "You're finally here." "Haha, I knew you would be alive." Miao Kong laughed, looking very excited. "Let me introduce you to my senior brother, Lei Mo. He's been taking good care of me." Miao Kong blinked and introduced him to Zi Chen. Zi Chen was relieved. Miao Kong meant that Wu Mo was on his side. Wu Mo was the guy who looked lazy, but he gave Zi Chen a dangerous feeling. At this moment, he had a faint smile on his face and nodded at Zi Chen. "Miao Kong, have you forgotten your identity? You're so familiar with an enemy. Do you still have the martial ancestor in your eyes?" At this moment, a discordant voice rang out. Following the voice, 3 young men walked forward. Wu Yuan was in the middle, and Li Hao and Song Meng were on both sides. The one who spoke just now was also Wu Yuan. "What identity?" "Zi Chen is my brother." Miao Kong didn't fear Wu Yuan's gaze at all and stared back. "How many of our martial ancestors, men, has he killed? You still think of him as your brother?" Wu Yuan stared with a cold glint in his eyes. "Brothers will always be brothers. As for them, they deserve to die," Miao Kong replied coldly. After obtaining the inheritance in the trial ground, Miao Kong's identity had risen. Naturally, he didn't fear Wu Yuan. Although the two of them were in the same sect, they were from 2 different forces. There were endless conflicts between them. Moreover, the one who advocated killing the Nimbus martial ancestor and killing Zi Chen was also Wu Yuan's force. Hua. Miao Kong actually said that his own sect's disciples deserved to die. The temperature in the air instantly dropped. A group of rogue cultivators retreated one after another, not wanting to be involved in this matter. Although many people knew that the martial ancestor belonged to 2 different forces and they didn't get along well with each other, it was still the first time they saw such a thing happening in front of so many people. "Miao Kong, you have such guts. You actually dare to say that your own sect's disciples deserve to die in front of outsiders. No wonder you were sent out that year. The spirit martial sect only taught you this. Where is your upbringing?" Wu Yuan was aggressive. "They killed my brother for no reason. They deserve to die." Miao Kong wasn't afraid at all. After obtaining the inheritance, their force had also grown in the martial ancestor. The current Miao Kong wasn't the same Miao Kong as before. "Very well. You've been speaking rudely. Today, I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of the sect's elders." Cold light flickered in Wu Yuan's eyes. He took a step forward, and a surge of aura rushed towards Miao Kong. Wu Yuan's aggressiveness made Zi Chen unhappy. He was about to take action, but before he could, someone else took a step forward. Wu Mo. He didn't say a word before, but now he took a step forward. The ground shook as if he was stepping on Wu Yuan's life gate. The latter's surging aura immediately retreated. "This is my Wu Mo's junior brother. I don't think you need to teach him a lesson." Wu Mo glanced at Wu Yuan from the corner of his eyes. He wore a loose robe and looked very lazy, as if he hadn't woken up yet. He didn't even need to look at a monstrous genius in his eyes. Wu Yuan's expression changed slightly. His eyes were filled with fear. Wu Mo looked lazy and unrestrained, but his battle strength was definitely strong. There was a rumor in the martial ancestor that Wu Mo had killed a true Yuan 9th sky genius. Now that he was stopped by Wu Mo, he didn't want to lower his status. He shouted, "Wu Mo, did you hear what Miao Kong said just now?" How dare he say such disgraceful words? If I don't teach him a lesson today, how can the martial ancestor have any face left? He's right. Provoking others for no reason and getting killed is what you deserve. If you have the ability, then kill back. Attacking your own junior brother here, do you think you have a lot of face? Wu Mo mocked. Brother Wu Mo, you're going overboard with your words. You're from the same sect, and Ziqin is neither your relative nor your friend. Why are you siding with an outsider? Li Hao couldn't stand it anymore. Humph. The face you threw away is something you need to get back. You can't get it back by teaching your own junior brother a lesson. Besides, are you worthy of being his senior brother? Wu Mo snorted coldly. He looked lazy, but his words were even more ruthless than Miao Kong's. He still didn't look at Wu Yuan, nor did he look at Li Hao and Songmeng. Wu Yuan couldn't get off the stage, and the other two were also very embarrassed. Ziqin, do you only dare to hide behind others? Li Hao turned his head and looked at Ziqin. He wanted to get back the embarrassment from before. Are you here to die? Songmeng said coldly. He didn't like Wu Mo's attitude just now. Looks like you know your place. You know that there's nowhere to hide, so you're here to die. Don't worry, we've already built the Qin beheading platform. When the time comes, we'll hang your head high up there. Wu Yuan also changed his target. This was a conflict between big forces. No one dared to speak, fearing that they would start a fight if they didn't agree. Are you all dogs? Who bites who? I'm here to die. Why don't you say that? I'm here to kill you all. Ziqin sneered. Since he was here, he naturally wanted to fight. There was no need to act like a coward. Presumptuous, Songmeng shouted, and the aura around him surged. Shameless boasting. Who was the one who was chased like a dog back then? Now, you actually dare to speak such arrogant words. Li Hao sneered. You probably vomited a few liters of blood when you were running away. You're even worse than a dog now. Wu Yuan sneered. Ziqin didn't care at all. He smiled faintly and said, I admit that I ran away. I admit that I've been running away. But what about you all? In order to kill me, a puny Xiantian, you didn't hesitate to send Yukong. To think that you're monsters, to think that you're strong, to think that you're just like animals. Ziqin sneered. When you were Xiantian, if you had even a little bit of my skills, you wouldn't be so angry that you're biting people like dogs. Both sides were very strong. They didn't leave any room for negotiation. Ziqin was a wandering cultivator. He had no power and was at a disadvantage. Now that he was mocking them, it had a great effect. The three of them glared at him. If you have the ability, come to the stage with me. I'll kill you immediately. Li Hao was anxious. If you want to die, I can fulfill your wish. But I'm in a good mood today. I'll let you live for a few more days. When the decapitation assembly starts, I'll kill you even if you don't beg me. The smell of gunpowder filled the air. A battle could break out at any time. The surrounding people retreated even further. Ziqin, you're finally here. Just as the atmosphere was about to explode, a surprised voice sounded. However, it was a male voice. It was somewhat disappointing. It was Lu Bo. He had also come, representing Yunxia City's Lu family. Now that he appeared, he didn't hesitate and directly walked toward Ziqin. I haven't thanked you for what happened last time. Lu Bo ignored the gazes of the surrounding people and deliberately went forward. What are you thanking me for? You gave me an ancient weapon. Ziqin patted Lu Bo's shoulder and smiled. Just a moment ago, they were about to start a fight. But when Lu Bo appeared, the two of them started chatting. Lu Bo's strength might not be strong, but after receiving the inheritance, he would naturally be able to soar to the sky in the future. Wu Yuan and the other two originally came to give Ziqin some pressure. But they didn't expect that before they could give him all the pressure and make Ziqin lose face, they would be left out here. And on their side, they had a bellyful of anger. The faces of the three instantly turned ugly. P.S. First, there was no thunder. Second, there was no rain or lightning, but suddenly there was a power outage. Who can I reason with? Chapter 259. Zi Chen. After chatting for a long time, a clear voice finally rang out. Wang Xian had jogged all the way here. When she saw Zi Chen, her face beamed with joy. Her face was flushed red and she was panting slightly. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, she walked to Zi Chen. I knew you would come. Wang Xian ran to Zi Chen. At the back, Wang Qiong heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, his sister didn't pounce on him. He had been trying to stop her, but he couldn't. Wang Xian insisted on running over. At this moment, a discordant voice rang out. Get out of my way, all of you. Are you all here to eat **T? Wang Shan was always so high-profile when he appeared. Once he shouted, everyone would back off. Then he would walk up with his head held high. He looked up at the sky with an arrogant look. Zi Chen looked at him with a playful smile. Wang Shan's heart skipped a beat. The aura that he deliberately put on just now was instantly dispelled. Wang Shan smiled and called out brother-in-law. Wang Xian's smile widened. Obviously, she already knew this name and was very satisfied with it. At the back, Wang Qiong was speechless. He couldn't wait to slap this unreliable Wang Shan to death. Just now, he said that he wanted to show Zi Chen his power and let him know how powerful he was. But after seeing Zi Chen, he was completely terrified. Zi Chen nodded. Let's go. The monsters are all in the guest house now. Let's go now. Wang Xian pulled Zi Chen and walked towards the guest house, ignoring the gazes of the surrounding people. The genius gathering was about to begin. These monsters and geniuses were going to have their last gathering and get to know each other better. You even forgot your manners. Wang Qiong glared at his sister in dissatisfaction. Then he glared at Zi Chen. The guest house had a total of 9 floors. It was said that the 9th floor was where the ancestral masters ate. It wasn't usually opened. Even if one flew, they could only eat on the 8th floor. In this genius gathering, the experts from various forces gathered in Songli City. It was a grand occasion, so the 9th floor was naturally opened. As for these freaks and geniuses, they were lucky enough to enter the 8th level to eat. This was Zi Chen's second visit to the guest house. The first time, it was Li Hua and the others who served him. But that day, Li Hao spoke to him as if he was speaking to a servant. It had been 2 years. Li Hua, Tsang He, and the others had already become the souls of the dead under his spear, whereas Li Hao, who was insufferably arrogant all those years ago, wasn't so lofty and unapproachable anymore, nor was he so overwhelmingly domineering. Furthermore, the other party had already viewed him as the greatest enemy in his life. The hall on the 8th floor was resplendent, luxurious, and grand. At this moment, many geniuses and monsters had gathered. The arrival of Zi Chen's group attracted everyone's attention. Zi Chen, who was being pulled along by Wang Xian, attracted a lot of attention. Obviously, they had already heard the news that Zi Chen had arrived in Songli City. Furthermore, with the appearance of such a popular king, it would be inexcusable if he did not attract attention. Come, let me introduce them to you one by one. Wang Xian pulled Zi Chen along, as if she was a little girl who had obtained a treasure and was showing it off to others. He is Lu Qin from Yongqi City's Lu clan. He is very powerful. Wang Xian deliberately made an exaggerated gesture when she came to Lu Chen's side. Lu Qin looked to be about 25 or 26 years old. He was slightly plump and had a simple and honest smile on his face. When he heard Wang Xian's words, he stood up. Miss Xian, you are too polite. Everyone knows that our Yongqi City's combat skills are not strong. Lu Qin smiled modestly and said, This must be brother Zi Chen. I have long heard of you. Lu Qin clasped his fists. Of course, this is the famous, handsome, talented, and most popular Zi Chen. Wang Xian introduced him proudly, looking very cute. Nice to meet you. Zichen was a little embarrassed. He rubbed his nose awkwardly. These two are from Danyang City's Qin clan. This is the elder brother, Qin Xing, and this is the younger brother, Qin He. Wang Xian pointed to the twin brothers and said. The two of them looked almost the same. It was hard to tell them apart. Miss Xian, I am the elder brother, Qin Xing. He is the younger brother, Qin He. The one who was pointed out as the younger brother stood up and said unhappily. They are almost the same. Among the group of demons, Wang Xian was the youngest. She was a little mischievous and cute. The two brothers had smiles on their faces. Obviously, they were not angry. Zichen nodded slightly and allowed Wang Xian to lead him away. This is Zhu Zicong from Zhu clan of Lingyao. He is a demon with strong combat strength. Wang Xian pointed to a young man. This young man was like light and was extraordinary. When the latter saw Zichen, he smiled faintly and sat down. One could vaguely see the disdain in his eyes. These two people are like ice blocks. They are from Chu clan. The male is called Chu Chuan and the female is called Chu Bing. Zichen, you are the one who killed Chu Fei and Chu Xiong. Just as Wang Xian finished speaking, the male Chu Chuan spoke. His voice was as cold as the aura around him. That's right, Zichen said. Then you are courting death. No one who offends Chu clan can live. Murderous intent flashed in the female Chu Bing's eyes. Sai, what do you mean by this? Zichen is a good person, and he wouldn't kill people for no reason. Since they were killed, they must have provoked Zichen first. Can you be more reasonable? Wang Xian said unhappily. The dignity of Chu clan is not to be blasphemed. If you don't die, we will meet at decapitation stage. The male Chu Chuan said. How boring. You can't differentiate between right and wrong. Let's go. I will introduce you to some interesting people. Wang Xian pulled Zichen and walked away. Take a look. Interesting, right? Wang Xian looked ahead and smiled. However, when Zichen looked at the people in front of him, he did not find them interesting at all. He was like a small animal being looked at by a bunch of curious babies. Their gazes and expressions made him feel like he was just short of touching them. And the saddest thing was that these people were all great beauties. They are all from Guangyu Pavilion. All of them are beauties. You have heard of Guangyu Pavilion, right? It is a mysterious place filled with illusions. Moreover, there are endless legends about Guangyu Pavilion. Wang Xian, I was a little intoxicated. How is it? My taste is good, right? This is the king of popularity, Zichen. Wang Xian boasted to the few people. You are Zichen, the king of popularity that everyone is talking about. Wow, everyone has been talking about you recently. Everyone says that your combat strength is unparalleled. So handsome. No, handsome and cool. A few girls from Guangyu Pavilion came forward and asked more than 10 questions. Zichen did not know how to answer. That's right. Zichen, are you interested in coming to our Guangyu Pavilion? We will welcome you. That's right, Zichen. Our place is filled with illusions. It is very beautiful and has endless legends. Many people came forward to strike up a conversation with him. Their eyes were like ripples of water, like electric currents. No, you can't go to Guangyu Pavilion. Wang Xian did not expect these people to be so enthusiastic. She quickly pulled Zichen back and said warily, that place is not good at all. Don't be fooled. The people there have not even seen some dolls before. Wang Xian pulled Zichen away like a little girl. She was afraid that Zichen would be snatched away. Zichen touched his nose and did not know what to say. At the back, Wang Qiong's face was even colder. He could not wait to throw Zichen out of the 8th floor with a single blow. Come, Zichen. This is someone from Letian City. He is a young lord and also a demon. His name is Gung Lu. Wang Xian brought Zi Qin to the last young man. This was a skinny young man. His face was pale and he was very thin. At this moment, he glanced at Zi Chen and then looked away. He looked at Wang Xian and said, Miss Xian, you are a genius and the princess of Yunxia City. Being with such a person is not compatible with your status. Not compatible? How is it not compatible? Wang Xian looked at Gung Lu. You are the princess of Yunxia City, supported by countless people. A person like you should find a prince, someone who should be protected, not a country bumpkin who has never seen the world. Moreover, he is a country bumpkin who is about to die. Gung Lu laughed. His voice was very easygoing and there were no other emotions. However, his words were very hurtful and he directly ignored Zi Qin. You, Wang Xian, was furious. Miss Xian, please don't be angry. I am just telling the truth. A country bumpkin like him has no power, no influence, no talent, and no virtue. He might not even be able to keep his life. What is there for you to miss? A princess like you should be protected. You should not be wronged. What kind of good life can you have by following a country bumpkin? Gung Lu was very rude and did not look Zi Qin in the eye. Humph, you are so boring. Wang Xian snorted and wrinkled her nose. She turned and pulled Zi Qin away. After that, there were some geniuses who had kind expressions. With Zi Chen's current combat strength, he could already kill geniuses. He was worthy of being called a demon. This is Wang Shan. Do you still need to introduce him? Wang Xian looked at Wang Shan and smiled slyly. Sister, why do you have to do this? Wang Shan pulled a long face and showed a bitter look. He then respectfully greeted brother-in-law. This is Wang Shi, Wang Shan's brother. Wang Xian continued to introduce. Humph. However, Wang Shi snorted coldly. You don't have to bother about him. He looks fierce, but he is actually a good person. He just hated you in the past. However, after you gave him Wang Shan's inheritance, he became much better. Wang Xian words made Wang Shi's cold aura disappear. Instead, he felt awkward. This is my brother. You have met him before. Wang Qiong, he is very talented. Wang Xian finally introduced her brother. Greetings. Zi Qin felt awkward and could only clasp his hands together. Humph, Wang Qiong snorted coldly. You don't have to bother about him. Although he is my brother, he will listen to me. You don't have to worry about him. Wang Xian words made Wang Qiong feel like vomiting blood. He wanted to find a hole to hide in. The assassin's pavilion, who specialized in assassination, did not appear. As for the other forces, they were all here. Of course, Li Hao and the rest did not need to be introduced. The gathering of geniuses will begin in a few days. I hope you can last a few rounds. Chapter 260. The gathering started, and the 8th floor was very lively. Zi Chen, Miao Kong, Wang Qiong, and the others were together, talking about the recent events. I hope you can last a few rounds and not die so early. The people of Chu family were very impolite, and the words of Nanbing were even more direct, coming from not far away. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint Brother Chu. I, Li Hao, will naturally be able to kill him. Li Hao said, standing together with Nanbing. That's right, I, Tsangmeng, can also kill him with one slash. Tsangmeng said. With Li Hao and Gung Lu from Letian City, they formed a small group. Previously, the 3 of us were still discussing who should be the one to kill Zi Qin and let his blood stain the execution platform. However, we were unable to come to a conclusion. Clearly, there is no need for Brother Chu to take action. Wu Yuan smiled and said, That's a pity. Nanbing said coldly, A country bumpkin like this can be easily dealt with by any one of us. If Brother Chu does it, wouldn't it make us look different? Gung Lu said indifferently. These people formed a small group, but they didn't suppress their voices. and it spread to the entire 8th floor. This was a conflict between two parties, so everyone tactfully kept quiet. You guys are too much. When the time comes, we can just compete on the platform. Why are you mocking people here? Lu Bo turned around and stared at them. We're telling the truth. There's no need to mock him, because he's not worthy. Gung Le smiled faintly and said, I don't understand. A mere rogue cultivator with no power or influence, trash like him. How can such a person be able to stand here and be on equal footing with us? Brother Gung, the reason why Ziqin is so famous is because he can run like a rat. Not only can he escape, but he can also dig holes. Otherwise, this kind of trash would have been killed long ago. Wu Yuan said disdainfully, You also know that if it weren't for the invitation of many forces, he wouldn't have appeared at all. He would still be hiding in a hole like a rat. That's enough. I say, you guys, don't be so shameless. You don't have any skills, and yet you're mocking others. How can you be more King arrogant than me? Wang Shan couldn't take it anymore and stood out to speak. Just a piece of trash. If he didn't run away, I could kill him with a finger or slap him to death. Wu Yuan sneered. Zichen had been silent all this while, but he was frowning. When he saw Wu Yuan's expression, he immediately stepped forward. Brat, are you here to die? Wu Yuan sneered when he saw Zichen. I wanted to kill you on the battle stage, but since you're so shameless, I'll fulfill your wish. Zichen stepped forward and waved his hand, aiming for Wu Yuan's face. There was no energy flow, only a burst of brute force that caused a sharp whistling sound. It was just the energy of the physical body, but it actually caused the air to howl, causing a strange expression to appear on everyone's faces. Wu Yuan's expression changed slightly as he raised his hand to block. Bang! A dull sound was heard as Wu Yuan took 5 steps back, feeling a burning sensation on his hands. Aren't you arrogant? Didn't you want to slap me to death? Zichen sneered and stepped forward again, waving his right hand. Bang! Another sound was heard as the air vibrated. This time, Wu Yuan took 8 steps back. His hands were deformed and blood flowed out. The surrounding genius's expression changed. Zichen had attacked twice without using any energy, but he still managed to injure Wu Yuan. Even the monstrous genius's expression turned serious. Aren't you trying to kill me? Come on. Zichen stepped forward and pointed his finger at Wu Yuan. Ah! Wu Yuan shouted with a ferocious expression. The aura around him surged, and rays of light flashed. However, a strong force came and Wu Yuan was sent flying. So this is your strength? Zichen sneered. Trash, like you still dares to be arrogant here. Zichen's physical body was able to force Wu Yuan back in 3 moves. Everyone was shocked. Then Zichen turned his head and looked at Li Hao and the others. Aren't you guys arrogant too? Ignoring the shocked gazes, Zichen strode towards Li Hao and the others and raised his hand to slap them. Bang! A dull sound was heard as Li Hao staggered a few steps back. Everyone was shocked. Zichen was unstoppable as he waved his hand. He didn't care if they were monstrous geniuses or not. Every time he slapped, he would slap them. His powerful physical body caused a sharp whistling sound. Anyone who tried to block Zichen's slap would be forced back and their hands would be deformed. His physical body is too terrifying. Seeing Li Hao being sent flying after 2 slaps, everyone's eyes almost popped out. They now had a better understanding of the rumored powerful Zichen. Bang! After Li Hao, it was Tsangmeng's turn. Tsangmeng, a monstrous genius whose combat strength was all about the saber, was now facing Zichen with his physical body. With a slap, Tsangmeng staggered back and his face changed drastically. Bang! Another slap landed. Tsangmeng's hands were deformed and blood flowed out. He was also sent flying. He's too powerful to be able to send 3 monstrous geniuses flying. It's too terrifying. Everyone says that Zi Chen's combat strength is unparalleled. I think his physical body is also unparalleled. The group of geniuses were dumbstruck and extremely shocked. As for Wang Shan, he was grinning from ear to ear. His heart was bursting with joy. Who asked these people to be more arrogant than him? A glint flashed across Wu Mo's lazy eyes as he stared unblinkingly at Zi Qin. Wang Qiong's eyes were also shining brightly. This was his first time seeing Zi Qin fight. He didn't expect his physical body to be so strong. Wang Shi was the same. His expression was solemn. Wang Xian was smiling as if she wasn't worried about Zi Qin at all. After defeating the three monstrous geniuses, Zi Chen's gaze turned towards Gun Lu. Why? Do you still want to fight me? Gun Li's eyes turned cold, but his face was a little pale. Zi Chen's physical body was strong. If he didn't use his energy, he would be bullying others. Moreover, they were all monstrous geniuses. Naturally, they wouldn't use their energy to fight against Zi Qin. You're noisy. I hate it. You're just like a fly. Zi Chen strode forward and waved his hand. Since you're a fly, I'll just send you flying with a slap. Get lost. Gun Lu shouted and waved his hand, slapping towards Zi Qin. Bang! The two slaps collided with a loud explosion. With a crack, Gun Li's finger bones were broken and he was sent flying. Gun Lu was sent flying with a single blow. Everyone's expression changed. Even some of the monstrous geniuses looked solemn. And you, the dignity of the Chu clan is not to be sullied. Are you saying that only they can kill me and I can't fight back? What kind of logic is that? Zi Chen waved his hand again and sent Nan Gongbing flying. At this moment, only Nan Gongbing was left in the small team. Her face was pale. Humph, you're lucky. I don't hate women. Zi Chen snorted and turned around to leave. He came with a strong momentum and left gracefully. Everyone could only see his back. The monstrous geniuses' expressions were very ugly. Their hands were deformed, and pain could be felt from their arms. They had lost all their dignity today. They couldn't show their powerful combat strength. Zi Chen, go to hell. Finally, Wu Yuan couldn't stand the humiliation anymore. A terrifying aura surged around him. At the same time, the other monstrous geniuses also wanted to get back their humiliation today. Zi Chen, come and fight. Their auras surged. The monstrous geniuses' battle intent soared. Cold light flashed in their eyes. Zi Chen turned around. There was a trace of disdain in his bright eyes. You bunch of dogs who only know how to bark and have no combat strength. When the competition starts, I will naturally kill you. As for now, you should enjoy the rest of your time. You deserve to die. Zi Chen, I challenge you. We will fight to the death. Gun Lu was enraged. Cold light flashed in his eyes. As for Nan Gongbing from the Chu clan, he stepped forward step by step. An oppressive chill spread out, causing the surrounding temperature to drop. Zi Chen, since you're going to die sooner or later, why don't we settle our grudges today? Let me kill you. Song Meng stepped forward. A long saber appeared in his hand. Wu Yuan and Li Hao were not willing to be outdone, as they stepped forward with murderous intent flickering in their eyes. Zi Chen stood there calmly. He didn't care about their provocation. Why don't you dare? The monstrous geniuses were overbearing. Youngsters nowadays are so impulsive. Let's settle our grudges in the fighting ring. Exactly. Compared to our generation, they are much crazier. The younger generation will surpass us in time. At this moment, a few voices came from the 9th floor. Although they were talking cheerfully, they dissolved the aura around Li Hao and the others. Humph, you're lucky. The group's faces changed. They withdrew their aura and turned to leave. Zi Chen, there are only a few days left. You better enjoy it. Li Hao sneered and walked down the stairs. Today they were sent flying by Zi Chen and suffered great humiliation. Naturally, they would not stay here. Zi Chen became the center of attention after defeating the monstrous geniuses. Wow, Zichin, you're so powerful. A few girls from the Guangyu pavilion came forward and looked at Zichin carefully. When they made Zichin feel awkward, they said, Zichin, come to our Guangyu pavilion. We welcome you. We can give you the identity of a disciple of the Guangyu pavilion. Zichin blushed with shame. He felt awkward when he looked at these people. We're serious. Our Guangyu pavilion can make an exception for you and accept you as a male disciple. Hee, you're in for a treat. We only have female disciples, and each of them is beautiful. Many people's faces changed. It would be a great blessing to enter the Guangyu pavilion. They could hug each other. Just thinking about it made them happy. He can't. Wang Xian quickly pulled Zichin back and said unhappily, You have to change your rule of not attacking women. Sometimes you can attack people you hate. Wang Xian glanced at the people from the Guangyu pavilion. Hey, little girl, what do you mean? Are you jealous? Immediately, the sound of chattering could be heard. Zichin, you can suppress them today, but it doesn't represent your strength. They didn't even use their strongest combat power. You have to be careful. Miao Kong sent a message to Zichin. Many people came forward and greeted him. Although they wanted to get close to him, they didn't have the intention to recruit him. As for recruiting Zichin, it depended on whether Zichin could survive. If he died in the battle, then there was no need to talk about recruiting him. Under everyone's anticipation, the gathering began. Chapter 261. Sangli City. Stone platforms had already been built around the central square of the city, and many people had already gathered there. No one wanted to miss this once-in-a-century event. There was a sea of people around the stone platforms, and all kinds of cheers could be heard, forming waves of sound. There were several high platforms in the center of the square, and each of them was 10 meters tall. The area was very large, and it was for the geniuses to fight. One of the 20-meter high platforms was very eye-catching. It was 10 meters taller than the other platforms, and it was more sturdy. There were words engraved on the stone walls around the platform. The blood-red words were dazzling and eye-catching. Beheading Qin platform. The three major forces were very confident, and they thought that they could kill Zichin. Ah, he's coming, he's coming. Amidst the exclamations, the various forces appeared, and many geniuses walked towards their respective positions. That's Wang Qiong, the number 1 genius of Yunxia City. I wonder who he'll be fighting today. Wang Qiong's appearance caused cheers, especially the female cultivators who screamed. That's Wang Xian, she's so beautiful. The geniuses appeared one after another, causing waves of exclamations. The sound waves were like waves surging around the square. Zichin, as long as you can kill the 3 of them, the major forces will come forward to protect you. Don't worry. Miao Kong and Zichin appeared together, and the latter transmitted a message. Zichin nodded his head. Zichin, he's Zichin. Zichin is here. Zichin, I love you. As the king of popularity, Zichin's appearance naturally caused more cheers, especially from the rogue cultivators. Because Zichin was a rogue cultivator, he was able to get the joint invitation of all the major forces, and they couldn't do anything about it. Obviously, he had succeeded in his counterattack. Zichin was very popular. When he appeared, all the voices were drowned out, and only the cheers for Zichin could be heard. Zichin, you killed the 3 geniuses. What's the big deal about the 3 forces? That's right, you killed the 3 geniuses and destroyed the 3 forces. Zichin, you're the best. Excited voices could be heard from the crowd. That's right, you've destroyed 3 monstrous geniuses and 3 forces. Following that, sounds like waves of sound rang out continuously. Zichin frowned, his expression extremely ugly. The expressions of Miao Kong and the others also changed. Have you found anything yet? Zichin asked. Soon. Around the high platform, there were some special seats where the experts of the various powers were seated. They were the true experts who had long since made a name for themselves. It seems that this little guy has offended quite a few people. On the high platform, Wang Jinwei heard the shouts from below and smiled slightly. This little guy is lawless and doesn't put the various powers in his eyes. It's normal for him to offend some people. Someone at the side chuckled. There were a total of 10 powerhouses present, representing 10 different forces. Although Wang Jinwei had deliberately pointed out that someone was trying to frame Ziqin, the Song and Li families, as well as the martial ancestors experts, all had ugly expressions on their faces. This kid is too flashy. It's not a good sign. It's good to have some killing intent. An old man said, "It's you guys from the assassin pavilion who shouldn't be exposed. Young people should be full of vigor and strength." A middle-aged man at the side spoke. He was from the Lu family of Yongqi City. Many of his family's disciples had been killed by the assassins of the assassin pavilion. The moment this kid appeared, he stepped on the heads of the major powers. He specializes in killing their disciples with evil intentions. If we fight him head-on, he won't survive. The Chu family said coldly, "Why don't you say that it's your family's disciples who offended him? You're Zukong, and yet you're arguing with a kid." A cold voice came from the side. It was a beautiful middle-aged woman, the only woman among the 10. "Everyone, there's no need to quarrel. If Ziqin dies in this battle, it's his fate. But if he lives, I, Wang Jinwei, representing the Wang family, will naturally protect him." Wang Jinwei chuckled. Of course, this was also the intention of the Wang family. If Ziqin's strength was unparalleled, they would naturally protect him. It's too early to say. Let's wait until he's alive. But there's not much hope, the martial ancestor expert said. Because of Ziqin, the monstrous geniuses won't fight this time. We can't estimate their strength, but we can watch the battle of geniuses and see which geniuses have appeared in recent years. The expert from the Qin clan smiled faintly. At this moment, a beautiful woman appeared on a high platform. She was slender and enchanting. "Thank you for coming to Songli City. The once-in-a-century gathering of geniuses will now begin." The woman's voice was very pleasant. She was the representative of Songli City. Once she opened her mouth, she attracted everyone's attention. The competition will be divided into 2 battles. The first battle is the Battle of Geniuses, and the second battle is the Monstrous Genius Challenge. After saying some more, the woman continued, "The first Battle of Geniuses will now begin. As for the rewards, the first place will be rewarded with 10,000 yuan stones. The second place will be rewarded with 5,000 yuan. The third place will be rewarded with 3,000 yuan. The top 10 will be rewarded with 1,000 yuan stones. The outcome will be witnessed by the experts of the major forces. Now is the battle of geniuses. Remember, friendship comes first, competition comes second." The woman stepped down from the high platform. She was obviously an expert. Her movements were as light as a swallow. Then the geniuses who were already prepared rose into the air. The battle began instantly. Rays of light flashed and colorful attacks filled the high platform. On the stone platform, many rogue cultivators raised their heads and watched with great interest. However, the monstrous geniuses were not interested. They were looking forward to the second battle, the Monstrous Genius Challenge. Of course, Ziqin was going to fight the 3 monstrous geniuses. That was the highlight of this gathering of geniuses. Not only in Songli City, but also in the entire southern region, there was no accurate explanation or standard for geniuses. Therefore, there were many geniuses who rushed to the stage. Among them, there were many who were defeated in one move. "Damn it, get out of here. How can someone like you be a genius? Get out of here." In the midst of the cheers, there were also occasional curses. Clearly, not everyone was watching the competition from an angle of appreciation. There were also some people who were not qualified to be on the stage, but were very anxious. They kept cursing and scolding, and their words were violent. "Idiot, you're not strong enough, but you still dare to enter the stage. Are you trying to embarrass yourself? You can't even distinguish between a genius and an idiot. You'd better get out of here as far as possible." There was a small disturbance in the crowd. There were many curses. Although it caused a wave of disgust, they still did as they pleased. The Battle of Geniuses is about participation. Everyone don't get too excited. An indifferent voice spread throughout the whole place. Those who were cursing felt as if their hearts were being hammered, and they suddenly shut their mouths. All in all, this was a very exciting battle. A group of geniuses displayed magnificent battle skills. It was an exciting battle. Occasionally, there would be accidents that would injure or cripple them, but there were no deaths. Overall, it was developing according to the path of friendship first, competition second. However, because there were too many geniuses, it would take a long time to compete with the top 10. If it was in the previous years, all the geniuses would fight together. The final battle of the top 10 would also be a battle of geniuses. At that time, the atmosphere would be very lively. However, there were no geniuses participating in this year's battle. Although the battle of the top 10 was intense, it lacked a kind of excitement. 5 days later, the top 10 were finally decided. Then, the representatives of Songli City gave out the rewards one by one. The result was not unexpected, and there was no unexpected dark horse. The top 10 were all people from the major forces. The first battle was over, and the second battle of the geniuses was naturally about to begin. Boom! After the rewards were distributed, the world suddenly shook. Then, a figure quickly flew to the high platform. "Zichen, do you dare to fight?" Wu Yuan stood on the beheading chin stage and shouted. His voice rumbled and boundless qi surged. Wu Yuan was the first to enter the battle of the geniuses. This was the first battle, and it might also be the last battle. Wow! The crowd on the stone stage was in an uproar. They had never thought that the 3 geniuses would be so anxious. They had just finished distributing the rewards, and Wu Yuan had even persuaded the other 2 to be the first to enter the stage. Young people nowadays are indeed impatient. Wang Jinwei smiled slightly. Looks like he's full of confidence. He thinks that he can kill Zichen in one fell swoop. Another expert nodded. Revenge is not over. This is the style of our martial ancestor. The martial ancestor expert was very satisfied. Wu Yuan has inherited the martial ancestor's secret art. Zichen will definitely die. I just don't know how many moves he can take. It's hard to say. According to his usual battle record, he should be able to take more than 10 moves. In addition, the major forces that had conflicts with Zichen were not optimistic about Zichen's chances. Wu Yuan stood on the high platform, his robe fluttering in the wind. His eyes looked down at Zichen, and boundless battle intent rose. Everyone's eyes fell on Zichen. 2 years ago, Zichen had appeared out of nowhere. He had always been challenging those above his level, and was known as the unparalleled genius. However, he had never really fought with a genius before. Whether he would go all the way or end here, it all depended on Zichen. Zichen looked up at Wu Yuan and said coldly, "They asked you to be cannon fodder. Then I'll fulfill your wish and kill you first." As soon as he finished speaking, Zichen tapped his foot and leaped up, arriving on the high platform in an instant. Calling Wu Yuan cannon fodder. Such domineering words made everyone excited. Obviously, Zichen was also very confident. "Today, I'm here to kill you. I'll let your blood dye the battle stage and hang your head on the decapitation stage," Wu Yuan said coldly, and his aura swept across the high platform. "Kill me? Let's see if you're qualified. Don't be killed by me." Zichen stepped forward, and the battle stage trembled. Golden blood soared into the sky, dyeing half the sky. "You've been running away before. This time, let's see where you can run to. We'll fight to the death." Wu Yuan's eyes were cold. He stepped forward like a giant, causing the high platform to tremble. Boom! Step by step, when the two were more than 10 meters apart, Wu Yuan finally attacked under the expectant gazes of the crowd. Surging energy swept across the high platform, and a terrifying killing intent filled the entire place. Wu Yuan attacked fiercely. Chapter 262. The sky trembled as a huge palm print appeared. The palm print was as black as ink and was over 10 meters in size. It covered the entire platform and circulated with a terrifying aura. That's the destruction palm. The martial ancestors' famous attack. The crowd exclaimed. They had never thought that Wu Yuan would use such a powerful attack in his first attack. He was obviously confident that he could kill Zichen. What are you going to use to fight me? Die! Wu Yuan's eyes flashed coldly. With a thought, a black palm print appeared above his head, and a terrifying aura surrounded it. This was the martial arts sex killing technique. It was extremely powerful, and even Elder Amo had praised it. Now that Wu Yuan was using it, the power of the palm print was naturally very strong. It was also the strongest annihilation palm he had ever seen. Murderous intent filled the air and engulfed the entire battle platform. The platform trembled as the palm struck towards Zichen's head. Wu Yuan was very strong, and his cultivation level was much higher than his. Zichen did not dare to be careless. The golden light around his body became even more dazzling, as if it was made of golden water. It was so bright that people could not open their eyes. Swoosh! The palm print appeared above his head. Zichen clenched his fists, and his golden blood chi surged. He flew up into the air like a beam of golden light. Boom! A muffled explosion sounded, and the battle of the monsters began. Zichen actually shattered the palm print with a single punch. His battle prowess was unparalleled. Boundless energy spread out and wreaked havoc on the battle stage. Zichen stood on the battle stage, his black hair dancing wildly in the wind. He was unscathed, his clothes fluttering in the wind. He stared at Wu Yuan coldly. So this is your powerful attack? That's all there is to it, Zichen said coldly as streams of origin energy circled around his body. The difference in strength between the two was huge. Zichen being able to block Wu Yuan's attack shocked everyone on the platform. This little guy is not weak, and his battle strength is also very strong. Wang Jinwei smiled lightly. He had high hopes for Zichen. The previous attack was just a test. The difference in strength is too great. Wu Yuan will be able to kill him within 20 moves, the martial ancestor said confidently. A terrifying aura surged around Wu Yuan's body. He had walked very far in the true energy realm and had grasped many different killing techniques. Boundless killing intent and boundless coercion appeared and swept towards Zichen in a frenzy. Brat, you are merely a level 2. How can you fight with me? I was just testing you. Wu Yuan snorted in disdain. Cold light flickered in his eyes. So what if I'm in the second celestial layer? Never underestimate the strength of a monstrous genius, because what a monstrous genius shows is his combat prowess, not his cultivation level, Zichen replied coldly. His entire body was covered in a dazzling golden light. The boundless golden light blocked the pressure outside. Die. The pressure descended, bringing with it a terrifying aura. A wave of energy swept towards Zichen to obliterate him. Although he did not use any battle skills this time, it was obvious that this attack was even more terrifying than the previous one. This was a pure attack. Wu Yuan wanted to use the advantage of his cultivation level to crush Zichen and defeat Zichen in one fell swoop. Pum! Zichen punched out, bringing with it a large amount of golden light. It was as if a heavy hammer had struck, producing a muffled sound. The entire platform shook, and the energy wave was instantly destroyed. The two's attacks were powerful and terrifying. The entire platform was shaking. If it were not for the fact that they had deliberately added some materials during the construction, it would have already exploded. Swoosh! Swoosh! The two were like rays of light, rushing towards each other. At this moment, they had chosen to take the initiative to attack. The two rays of light were in a stalemate, attacking each other continuously. The sound of energy colliding rang out unceasingly, like thunder exploding in the sky. Boom! The berserk energy engulfed the platform, and a destructive aura rippled out. With each attack, the entire platform was shaking. The two were like lightning. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 10 blows, producing thunderous sounds. Below, everyone raised their heads, looking at the two in shock. Compared to the previous battle of geniuses, this battle of monsters was much more exciting. Just from the beginning, there was already a terrifying aura circulating. I wonder who is so sure that Wu Yuan will win within 20 moves. The two had exchanged more than 10 moves in the blink of an eye. Yongqi Lu family's expert laughed sarcastically. Wu Yuan just did not use his full strength. Within 50 moves, Zi Chen will definitely die. Martial Ancestor snorted. That's right. Wu Yuan's strength is obviously higher. Killing Zi Chen is only a matter of time. I think Zi Chen has been running away all this time, and Wu Yuan is very angry. Now, he wants to play with him for a while longer. Li family's expert echoed. They all had conflicts with Zi Chen, so naturally they would not side with Zi Chen. Boom! The platform was shaking. The two were fighting faster and faster. Many cultivators could only see 2 streaks of light, but could not see the specific movements. In the midst of the explosions, they had already exchanged more than 100 moves, but there was still no clear winner. Martial Ancestor did not say anything, but one could see that his expression was not good. As for Yu Kong, who had spoken for Wu Yuan before, he was also silent. The entire platform was filled with terrifying yuan qi. The terrifying aura was constantly fluctuating, and a large amount of golden light shone down. Annihilation slash. Wu Yuan shouted, his robes fluttered in the wind, but he couldn't take Zi Chen down even after a long time. Finally, he unleashed his true qi, forming seals with his hands. A bright light flashed between his fingers, and a gigantic sword blade appeared. It was over 10 meters long. The blade was black, and it was surrounded by rolling demonic qi. It carried a terrifying aura, and as it slashed forward, the space began to tremble and ripples appeared. A murderous intent filled the platform. This was another attack of Martial Ancestor, and it was also very powerful. Green Peak slash. Zi Chen's eyes flashed coldly. He did not want to be outdone. Golden light flickered between his fingers, and a golden blade appeared. It carried an aura that was not weaker than the black blade, and it rushed forward. Boom! This was a terrifying collision. The platform seemed to be unable to withstand the terrifying energy and was about to collapse. On the platform, Wang Jinwei raised his eyebrows when he saw Zi Chen use the Green Peak slash. He glanced at the stone platform below. Green Peak seal. But then, Zi Chen formed another hand seal, and a huge golden seal appeared. It was dozens of meters long, and it was surrounded by golden light. There were many runes on it, and it had a terrifying aura. It was like a huge mountain, and it fell from the sky with great force. This was the Green Peak seal of the Wang family. Although its color and aura had changed, Wang Jinwei still recognized that it was their family's Green Peak seal. Only the direct descendants of the family could learn this attack. Its power was not weaker than Martial Ancestor's Annihilation Slash at all. At the same time, on the other side of the platform, the faces of Wang Qiong and the others changed. They naturally recognized their family's battle technique. Wang Shan stuck out his tongue and took a step back, allowing Wang Qiong and Wang Shi to look at Wang Xian, who was watching the battle anxiously. Zi Chen, go to hell! The golden seal exploded, and Wu Yuan rushed out. His body surged with terrifying origin energy, and he rushed toward Zichen. Zichen's eyes were cold and ruthless, and his face was filled with killing intent. This was a battle to the death, and it would only end when one side died. He clenched his right fist, and his perfect body released energy. The qi and blood in his body were like awakened dragons, providing endless energy. His fist was like a golden hammer, and it suddenly fell. Boom! A deafening rumble shook the entire platform. Golden light sprinkled down as a heavy punch landed. Wu Yuan was directly sent flying. Zichen rushed up and crossed his arms. Rays of golden light bloomed, and they were like two huge millstones, crushing towards Wu Yuan. A terrifying aura circulated, and Wu Yuan also shouted, throwing out a powerful attack. Boom! A violent collision rang out. Even though the battle platform had been reinforced, it began to tremble violently at this moment. Cracks began to spread. Zang, zang, zang. The powerful attack made Wu Yuan take a few steps back. His face was pale and he looked terrible. He was actually suppressed. He was suppressed by a mere second sky of true essence. This is too scary. Is Zichen really only at the second sky of true essence? Wu Yuan is very strong. He can actually fight to a draw with Zichen. A second sky is actually suppressing a sixth sky. This is a battle that is 4 levels higher, and it's against a monster. Zichen and Wu Yuan were 4 heavenly layers apart, but at this moment they were evenly matched. Zichen even had the upper hand. His powerful battle prowess shocked everyone. Unparalleled battle strength. At that moment, everyone couldn't help but think of those 4 words. Zichen was a monstrous genius who possessed unparalleled battle prowess. With a difference of 4 levels, Zichen could suppress Wu Yuan. Even if he lost in the end, it would still be a glorious defeat. But Zichen couldn't lose. In this life and death battle, losing meant death. He didn't want to die. Clang! Light flashed in Wu Yuan's hand, and a sharp weapon appeared. It was a weapon that was refined in the air. Although it couldn't be compared to a spiritual weapon, its toughness and sharpness were extraordinary. On the surface of the weapon, a cold light flickered, like ripples of water, exuding a dense killing intent. This was a weapon that Wu Yuan had used to kill countless people. The merciless killing intent within it was enough to cause one's mind to tremble. Wu Yuan held a sharp weapon and activated the true essence in his body as he shot towards Zichen. The unity of man and weapon transformed into a beam of light, piercing towards Zichen's face. The light flashed and disappeared. Clang! Zichen raised his hand to block, and a large golden light appeared in his palm. He was forced back a few steps, and a wound appeared on his palm. Red blood dripped down. What? Wu Yuan's powerful attack was only a drop of blood. On the stone platform, all the cultivators were shocked. Wu Yuan's attack with the sharp weapon was extremely powerful. Even a 7th or 8th sky of true essence would be killed, let alone a second sky of true essence. But Zichen was only lightly injured, losing only a drop of blood. The expressions of the experts on the high platform changed slightly. Zichen's physique was indeed shocking and had surprised them. Wu Yuan's expression also changed. He shouted and turned into a beam of light, rushing forward again. Get lost! Zichen shouted. His perfect body was injured, and this made him furious. The golden blood in his body kept surging, like a fully awakened dragon, providing Zichen with endless power. He clenched his fist, and a large amount of golden light scattered. With his flesh and blood, he rushed towards the sharp weapon. Clang! Golden light overflowed. Zichen's fist landed, causing a loud sound like a bell. Clang! Clang! Zichen punched repeatedly. His speed was very fast, like raindrops falling, hitting the sharp weapon. shaking out a large amount of golden light. Bang! 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 Chapter 263. Ziqin had used his body to shatter Wu Yuan's sharp weapon. The sharp weapon shattered into pieces the size of a fingernail. They shot out in all directions like hidden weapons, piercing through the air. The crowd was in an uproar, their faces filled with disbelief. Ziqin had shattered sharp weapons before. Everyone had heard of his terrifying physique, so they weren't surprised at all. However, what shocked them was that Ziqin had actually shattered Wu Yuan's sharp weapon. One had to know that the monster's battle prowess was so strong that even an ordinary weapon would be like a divine weapon in his hands. He could unleash unparalleled battle prowess. Pum! The sharp weapon shattered. Ziqin punched out again. The golden light was like a stream of water rushing towards Wu Yuan. The latter was directly sent flying. His protective true Yuan instantly shattered. Puff! Wu Yuan coughed out blood as he was sent flying. He was actually injured. His face was as pale as paper, and his black hair was messy. He was in a sorry state. On the high platform, several experts' faces changed, especially Martial Ancestor. He had previously said that Wu Yuan would be able to kill Ziqin within a dozen moves. However, both sides had exchanged hundreds of moves. Not only did Wu Yuan fail to kill Ziqin, he was even beaten to the point of vomiting blood. Hee, what a monster! Killing the enemy within a dozen moves. The experts of Yongqi cities, Lu family laughed strangely. This made the other experts' faces turn even uglier. The cultivators on the stone platform were shocked. Not only did Ziqin not lose, he even injured Wu Yuan. Even if it was just a light injury, it was still unbelievable. Not bad. Wu Mo's lazy eyes lit up. Ziqin's battle strength had surprised him. Very strong. Wang Shi clenched his fist and said, coldly, because of the matter of Wangshan, he had been holding a grudge against Ziqin. After today's battle, he had to admit that Ziqin's battle strength was unparalleled. Wang Qiong didn't say anything. He looked at the Chun beheading platform, his eyes shining. No one knew what he was thinking. Wang Xian, who was nervous, heaved a sigh of relief when she saw Wu Yuan being pushed back. That was close. However, if there is a first strike, there will be a second strike. He is dead meat. After saying that, she clenched her small fists at the decapitation stage. Ziqin had managed to suppress and injure Wu Yuan. Thus many of the geniuses wore stern looks. They were no longer as indifferent as before. Ziqin, I don't believe that a mere level 2 like you can defeat a level 6 like me. Wu Yuan had gone completely mad. His hair was disheveled and his eyes were filled with endless killing intent. At the same time, a violent aura surged out from his body. His powerful attacks and killing techniques were all countered by Ziqin. At this moment, he was even more enraged. Show me what you have, Ziqin said coldly. However, his expression became much more serious. It was obvious that the other party was going to go all out. A monstrous genius who went all out would naturally have terrifying combat power. Let me show you my martial ancestors' strongest battle technique. Wu Yuan stood on the Qin beheading platform as true energy revolved around him like a huge wave. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into an unparalleled expert, showing off his dominance. At the same time, he shouted, "Martial dominates the world." Wu Yuan's eyes were cold and merciless. The true energy aura around him was getting stronger and stronger, close to going berserk. His entire body was emitting a bright light, like a sun, causing others to be unable to open their eyes. Martial dominates the world. He said each word slowly and forcefully. At this moment, his aura changed as well. It was as if he had turned into an imposing expert, looking down at Ziqin with a pair of cold eyes. He was like a king looking down on the world, high and mighty looking down on an ant. This is martial dominates the world. This little guy has comprehended it at the true energy realm. On the platform, a few Imperial Realm experts were surprised. This martial dominates the world was one of the martial ancestors' ultimate techniques. It was very powerful. The rise of the martial ancestor in the past was also due to martial dominates the world. When martial dominates the world was used, the imposing aura, the pressure of an unparalleled expert, and the terrifying killing intent had killed countless experts, creating a pure land for the martial ancestor. After thousands of years of development, the martial ancestor had become a great force. I've only comprehended martial essences by accident. Even though I can't even unleash half of its power, it's enough to kill Zichen. The martial ancestor realm expert spoke once again. He was extremely confident, and his face was filled with pride. The ultimate battle technique wasn't something that anyone could comprehend. The martial ancestor had more than 10,000 disciples, but how many of them could comprehend the ultimate battle technique? Once martial dominates the world is used, there's no suspense. This battle is about to end. What a pity. I thought Zichen could hold on a little longer. I didn't expect him to meet martial dominates the world. I haven't seen this move in a long time. The experts of the Tsang and Li families also said. Obviously, they thought that Zichen was going to die. On the platform, some of the geniuses' eyes flickered. Wu Yuan's martial dominates the world surprised and shocked them. This was a very powerful attack. If one wanted to comprehend it, they had to have extraordinary talent. Boom! Destructive aura rippled. On the platform, Wu Yuan shone brightly as if he had become a supreme figure. Even his expression couldn't be seen clearly. Only his eyes were like two cold bolts of lightning, carrying endless coldness. Zichen, this is my martial ancestor's strongest battle technique. Today I'll use it to kill you. You'll be the first genius to die under this move. Wu Yuan said coldly. His voice was sonorous and powerful, like a king looking down on the world and talking to ants. Humph, stop bragging. Come at me if you can. Zichen snorted, not wanting to be outdone. Wu Yuan's strength had ignited his battle intent. Golden light surged around his body as if he was made of pure gold. Outside his body, streams of true Yuan flowed like golden lightning, filled with a destructive aura. Extreme Yin. Zichen shouted. His hair danced wildly in the wind. A seal appeared between his hands. His fingers were like dancing spirits, emitting brilliant golden light as he attacked with Extreme Yin. Abdomen's lightning Jinyuan, which represented Extreme Yin, surged crazily like boiling water. It then flowed out of his body through his meridians. Go to hell. Supremacy, Ru spoke, his voice resounding with power. Wu Yuan's killing move arrived. He was like a giant as he stretched out his hand and slapped towards Zichen. It was just a casual attack, but a terrifying energy circulated, causing the entire battle platform to tremble. The boundless pressure caused the cracks to spread. This was one of the martial ancestors' strongest killing moves. It contained unimaginable power. Back then, it had killed many strong cultivators. Today it appeared again. Although its power was less than 10%, the person in front of him was no longer a strong cultivator, but a small cultivator of the second celestial layer. As if the heavens and earth were collapsing, the palm fell from the sky with boundless power. The entire platform seemed to be unable to withstand it and could collapse at any time. Swoosh! A terrifying aura rushed over. At this critical moment, a resplendent golden light appeared in front of Zichen. The golden light carried with it an extreme Yin Qi and a destructive aura. It rushed forward and struck the palm. Boom! Extreme Yin and Wu Yuan's killing moves collided, creating ripples of destructive qi. The sky was trembling, the earth was shaking, and the battle stage seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. Cracks spread out like a spider web, covering the ground. Rumble. It was as if thousands of lightning bolts had exploded at the same time. Everyone's ears went deaf in the next moment. There was a buzzing sound as the boundless energy collided. This was the collision of powerful killing moves. It was shocking and terrifying. At this moment, even the expressions of many monstrous geniuses changed. They asked themselves how they would deal with such a move if they encountered it. The sky was filled with dust, blocking everyone's sight. Cough, cough! When the dust and energy dissipated, a light cough sounded on the platform. Wu Yuan slowly stood up from the ground. At this moment, his clothes were in tatters, his hair was messy, and his face was dirty. As he coughed, large amounts of blood spilled out. It's Wu Yuan, he's still alive. Oh my God, Wu Yuan is still alive after such a violent collision. Where's Zi Qin? Where did Zi Qin go? Was he killed? After seeing Wu Yuan, everyone exclaimed. When Wu dominates the world is used, who can compete with him? This is the ultimate battle skill of a major force. Its power is unfathomable. Zi Qin is most likely dead. When the dust settled, Zi Qin's figure was nowhere to be seen. Someone sighed. A monstrous genius had fallen just like that. His battle strength was unparalleled, but he encountered Wu dominates the world. Haha. Wu Yuan covered his chest and laughed heartily. In front of him, there was no one. Zi Chen was nowhere to be seen. Finally dead. What a pity. I wanted to kill you dozens of times, but I didn't expect you to be blasted into nothing. I was lucky. Wu Yuan stood up straight. He was finally able to lift his eyebrows and sweep away his previous grievances. He could already see the shocked and stunned gazes below, and he enjoyed those gazes very much. Be careful. Suddenly, a shout came from the crowd. It seemed to be warning Wu Yuan. However, Wu Yuan was still laughing and did not hear it. Even if he heard it, he would not care. Zi Chen was already dead. What was there to be careful about? It was time to enjoy the envious gazes of everyone. You're too confident and arrogant. Suddenly, a cold voice came from behind Wu Yuan. The latter's body shuddered and his eyes widened. At this moment, a sense of danger emerged from the bottom of his heart. Bang! A huge force came from behind and Wu Yuan was sent flying. He coughed out a few mouthfuls of blood in midair. Wu Yuan fell to the ground and rolled a few times before stabilizing himself. He coughed out another mouthful of blood and looked in front of him in shock. He saw Zi Qin looking at him coldly. His clothes were only slightly wrinkled. He was not injured at all. Impossible. Not only did you survive my Wu dominates the world attack, you're not even injured. Wu Yuan's face changed. He could not believe it, as if he had seen a ghost. Go to hell. He looked crazy, but he did not lose his mind. A cold light flashed in his eyes. He mobilized his true Yuan and rushed toward Zi Qin. Zi Qin's eyes were filled with killing intent. He also turned into a ray of light and rushed forward. The two of them fought fiercely again. Terrifying auras circulated and thunderous explosions sounded. But this time, the two of them only exchanged a few blows before Wu Yuan was sent flying. Blood splattered everywhere as he landed on the decapitation stage. Chapter 264. The Qin beheading stage was dyed red with blood. It was as Wu Yuan had said. Blood stained the Qin beheading stage. Unfortunately, it wasn't Zi Chen's blood, but Wu Yuan's. On the platform, everyone was dumbfounded. They didn't expect Zi Chen to be able to block Wu dominating the world and come out unscathed. Die! Wu Yuan roared, his hair fluttering in the wind. He ignored his injuries and rushed toward Zi Chen. This was a battle that would not end until one side died. Only when one side fell would it end completely. Pum! The coldness in Zi Chen's eyes intensified, and a large amount of golden light scattered. This time, after 7 or 8 moves, Wu Yuan was once again sent flying like a rag, flying a few meters away. On the platform, the collision of energy continued. The battle was almost one-sided. Wu Yuan was sent flying for the third time, coughing out blood. "I don't believe that I can't kill you." Wu Yuan's clothes were torn, and his body was covered in blood. His eyes were red, and his hair was disheveled. He had lost all his face in today's battle. Only by using Zi Chen's blood could he wash away all the humiliation. "Destruction!" Wu Yuan shouted. His voice was ice-cold, like that of a malicious spirit, emitting a boundless chill. His aura changed once again, filled with invasiveness, destruction, and terrifying. "I want you to die." Wu Yuan was completely crazy. In order to wash away today's humiliation, he used a battle skill that he wasn't familiar with. This was the ultimate destruction battle skill. Its power wasn't any weaker than Wu dominating the world. However, before fully grasping it, it would bring a lot of damage to the user. The stronger the power, the greater the backlash. After being humiliated again and again today, his life was in danger. Even if he had to lie in bed for half a year, he would accept it. Today he must kill Zichen. This is the ultimate profundity of the annihilation battle skill. Wu Yuan is going to destroy everything. Oh my God! Once the destruction is used, the enemy will die. This is a battle of life and death. All the cultivators who knew the origin of this move were shocked. They knew that the final outcome would be revealed in the next moment. Extreme Yang. Zi Chen sensed danger, and with a shout, the hand seals between his fingers appeared once more. Before it was Extreme Yin, but now it was Extreme Yang. He displayed his greatest strength, and at the same time ensured the balance between Yin and Yang. Buzz! With a light tremble, a large amount of golden light flew out, bringing with it a scorching, destructive aura, turning into a golden lightning bolt that shot towards Wu Yuan. "Destruction!" Wu Yuan yelled. He fused his essence, energy, and spirit to launch the final attack. After this attack, if Zichen didn't die, then he would die. If Zichen died, then he would be weakened for a long time and suffer an unimaginable backlash. The pitch-black light and the golden light collided. It was as if the energy of two poles had collided, bringing about destruction. Heaven and earth were being destroyed. This world was being destroyed. Everything was being destroyed. The Chun beheading stage was shaking, and the cracks extended for several meters. Even the origin formation in the middle was dimming and losing its energy. Rumble. The energy collided, and after a long time, a thunderous sound rang out. Moreover, there was a terrifying energy that wreaked havoc in the surroundings of the battle stage. Pum! The energy wreaked havoc, and a 10-meter tall battle stage had cracks on it, following which it exploded. Stone fragments flew everywhere, and dust covered the sky. Boom! Following which, the second battle stage shattered. Debris flew everywhere, and was instantly dispersed by the energy. After that, the battle stages exploded one by one, turning into fragments and dissipating. Only the 20-meter battle stage in the middle, which was reinforced by the origin formation, was still holding on under the raging energy. However, it was also on the verge of collapse and could explode at any time. Around the stone stage, countless cultivators were swept away by the energy, and many fell to the ground. This exchange of blows was truly terrifying, and it could be considered as the deciding blow. Everyone was in a sorry state. Some of them had messy hair and dirty faces, and their clothes were torn. Some were swept away by the energy and accidentally hit their heads, causing blood to flow out. However, they didn't seem to have noticed. All of them widened their eyes and looked towards the Chun beheading stage. They wanted to see the final victor. After the dust settled, everyone's gaze turned towards the Chun beheading stage. They were waiting for the final victor. Wang Xian was very anxious, and her face was filled with worry. It was just the first battle, and they had already encountered such a strong opponent. They didn't even know if Zi Chen was still alive. On the side of the crowd, Li Hao and Song, he looked at the battle stage with a solemn expression. Just as they were waiting anxiously, a figure finally appeared on the battle stage. He was staggering and couldn't even stand properly. Just as he stood up, he almost fell down again. Ha! A loud laugh was heard. It was wild and carefree. It's Wu Yuan. After seeing the figure standing up, everyone exclaimed, "It's Wu Yuan. It's actually Wu Yuan." Wang Xian, Er's expression changed instantly, and her eyes were filled with disbelief. Miao Kong was also in disbelief. How could it not be Zichen? One had to know that Zichen's performance had been very strong. He blocked Wu dominating the world, and he wasn't even injured. Zichen didn't appear, but Wu Yuan stood up. How could this be? Everyone was in disbelief, and they felt that everything was so unbelievable. It's the destruction combat technique. It's too scary. That's the ultimate combat technique, and Wu Yuan is 4 levels higher than Zichen. It's normal that Zichen can't defeat him. Sighs could be heard from the crowd. A demon-like talent had fallen, just like that. Huh. Wu Yuan laughed wildly, but his laughter stopped abruptly in the next moment, as if someone was strangling his neck, forcefully stopping him from laughing. There were many cracks on the battle stage, and many of them were 1 to 2 meters wide and a few meters long. At this moment, Wu Yuan's eyes were wide open, and he looked in disbelief at the figure crawling out from the cracks. It was Zichen. His clothes were torn in many places, and his hair was messy. His face was pale, and he was severely injured from the previous attack. "Zichen, you're not dead yet." Looking at Zichen, Wu Yuan looked as if he had seen a ghost. His voice started to tremble, and no one knew if it was because of the shock or because of the backlash from the previous attack. "He's not dead. Zichen's not dead. It's too scary. He's not dead even after such an attack. He's indeed a demon-like talent. Wu Yuan can't even kill Zichen with his unparalleled combat strength." Seeing Zichen appear, the crowd exclaimed. This time, it was the rogue cultivators who exclaimed. Then, everyone started to cheer. Zichen wasn't dead, and he was still full of energy. He represented the rogue cultivators and defeated a demon-like talent. His eyes were still cold. He looked at Wu Yuan as though he was looking at a dead man. "I've already said that you're just cannon fodder. They let you be the first to appear so that you can die. Now I'll send you on your way." His words were calm, but they were filled with endless coldness. Zichen's eyes flashed coldly, and he strode forward. "No, I don't believe it." Wu Yuan roared, and his expression was hideous. He flew around crazily and mobilized all the true Yuan in his body, preparing for another attack. Swoosh! Zichen was full of energy, and his speed was fast, like a golden lightning. He arrived in front of Wu Yuan in an instant. 2 fingers formed a sword, and as the light flashed between his fingers, a golden sword qi slashed across Wu Yuan's neck. Puff! With a flash of golden light, a human head flew up and landed on one side of the battle stage. It rolled a few times before it stood there, as if it had been hung high up in the air. Its eyes were wide open and filled with shock. Wu Yuan was still standing. Blood spurted out from his headless body, and it was 2 meters high. It was like a rain of blood sprinkling on the decapitation platform. The decapitation platform was covered in blood. The decapitation platform was covered in blood. The surroundings were silent, and the heavens and earth fell into silence. The square that held 10,000 people was so quiet that not even the sound of breathing could be heard. Dead. A demon-like talent died just like that. His head was chopped off, and his blood was spilled on the decapitation platform. It was his arrogance. At this moment, no one spoke. Even those demon-like talents were no longer calm. To be able to kill Wu Yuan with a difference of 4 levels, Zichen's battle prowess was unparalleled. If both parties were at the same level, they suspected that Wu Yuan would be killed in one move. Cough! Suddenly, a light cough broke the silence of the square. Zichen coughed out a mouthful of blood. However, compared to Wu Yuan's headless body, Zichen's mouthful of blood was nothing. At this moment, the crowd finally reacted. The silent square was suddenly filled with a roar, and screams could be heard. The sound waves were like waves, spreading out continuously. Wu Yuan is dead. Zi Qin killed a demon-like talent. He is only at the second sky of true element, but he killed a sixth sky demon-like talent. Unparalleled battle prowess. This is the true unparalleled battle prowess. The crowd was very excited and they kept exclaiming. Some of the rogue cultivators even roared the sky, as if they were the one who killed Wu Yuan. That's great, that's great. Wang Xian jumped up in joy. Zi Chen was still alive, and he killed Wu Yuan. Don't be happy too early. There are still 2 more battles. Wang Shi poured cold water on Wang Xian, which made her unhappy. Scary, really scary. The eyes of the other demon-like talents on the stone stage flickered. No one knew what they were thinking. Damn it, he actually killed Wu Yuan. Li Hao and Song Meng were enraged, and they almost smashed the stone stage under them. The people of the major powers had ugly expressions on their faces. However, the martial ancestor realm expert on the high platform had an ugly expression on his face as well. He had boasted shamelessly and was full of confidence that Wu Yuan would be able to kill Zi Qin within a dozen moves. However, the 2 sides had exchanged hundreds of moves, and there was no clear winner. He also said that Wu Yuan could kill Zi Qin with his martial dominating the world, and that everything would come to an end. But in the end, Wu Yuan used the annihilation, a battle technique that caused a great backlash, but he still couldn't kill Zi Qin. Instead, he was slaughtered. Blood spilled on the Qin stage. This little guy is not bad. No wonder he's called unparalleled battle prowess. Who can match him in the same realm? The people from the Lu family of Yongqi laughed, looking at Zi Chen with admiration. It's a little unexpected. Wang Jinwei also laughed. Yes, he has great potential. The only woman on the stage, the expert from the Guangyu Pavilion, also gave a rare compliment. Compared to Zi Qin, who had been praised, the dead Wu Yuan had become a dead man. Not only had he died, but he had also humiliated the people who had thought highly of him before. Those who thought highly of Wu Yuan were speechless, and their faces were extremely ugly. Chapter 265. Boundless killing intent rose from the martial ancestor's heart. If there wasn't someone beside him, he would have slapped Zi Qin to death. Today, the martial ancestor had lost face. Their demonic genius had been killed by a rogue cultivator. Moreover, there was a difference of 4 levels between them. It was a slap in the face. Hearing the cheers from the surroundings, the martial ancestor's face turned ugly. Where are the evildoers of our martial arts sect? Quickly kill Zi Qin. The martial ancestor felt extremely sullen. The martial ancestor had lost face today, but he couldn't do anything. Only a demonic genius could get back his face. He was glad that the martial ancestor had sent 2 demonic geniuses this time. Everyone was stunned. They thought that after Zi Qin had killed Wu Yuan, he would fight with Song Meng or Li Hao. They didn't expect the martial ancestor to make such a move. Everyone's gazes fell on Wu Mo. The martial ancestor had sent 2 demonic geniuses this time. One was Wu Yuan, and the other was Wu Mo. Wu Mo was a demonic genius that didn't appear in the world. Not many people knew about him. But when Miao Kong and Wu Yuan had a conflict, many people could see that Wu Yuan was afraid of Wu Mo. Wu Mo's true strength was stronger than Wu Yuan's. Wu Mo was together with Miao Kong. Other than being a little startled when Zi Chen killed martial origin, he had always been very indifferent. Being stared at by everyone, Wu Mo smiled faintly. He placed his hands behind his head and looked lazy as if he hadn't heard the words of a senior. Wu Mo, you're up now. Kill Zi Qin. Wu Mo didn't respond, which made the Imperial Sky expert unhappy. He called out Wu Mo's name and his voice spread across the square. I'm sorry, Martial Uncle. I haven't been feeling well recently. I can't fight to the death. Wu Mo removed his hands from the back of his head and bowed slightly. He refused directly not giving this elder any face. Although both sides were martial ancestors' people, they were two different forces and had always had conflicts. Furthermore, the force that Wu Mo belonged to was Bao Chen's because of Miao Kong. Yu Kong was enraged and instantly stood up. His cold eyes landed on Wu Mo. Master said that I shouldn't make a move recently. Otherwise, there will be a bloody disaster in the future. Wu Mo said again. This time he said it very seriously. What a bunch of nonsense. As a cultivator, how can I believe in such nonsense? The martial ancestor coldly snorted in the air. He was very dissatisfied. He turned to the square and shouted, "My martial ancestor is a man. Who is going to kill Ziqin?" His clear voice resounded throughout the entire square, causing everyone to be dumbfounded. At that moment, everyone was guessing whether the martial ancestor realm cultivator's brain was damaged or not. Ziqin had displayed such a strong battle strength that only a monstrous genius could do. Apart from Wu Mo, where else could there be a monstrous genius in the martial ancestor realm? The martial ancestor's disciples were very embarrassed. No one dared to make a move. Some people's heads were filled with blood. They wanted to force their way forward, but after meeting Ziqin's cold eyes, they all retreated. If a monster didn't appear who could kill Ziqin, I'll kill you. Suddenly a loud shout was heard. The voice rumbled and resounded throughout the square. Then a figure flew up from the stone platform and landed on the beheading Qin platform. Boom! With a loud rumble, the platform seemed to have been trampled by a giant. It was already full of cracks, and now it was shaking nonstop, as if it was about to collapse. The person who came was a muscular young man. He was dressed in black and had a tall stature. He held a long blade in his hand. The long blade was as black as ink and was very heavy. It was Tsang Meng from the Tsang clan. He had abandoned his clan's ultimate battle skills and focused solely on the blade. He was known as the Blade Maniac. All of his skills were focused on the blade. This was why he was sent flying by Ziqin's slap in the guest pavilion. Ziqin, today Tsang Meng will kill you. In Tsang Meng's hand, the black blade danced with a heavy feeling. A dense killing intent filled the entire platform. After the previous battle, the beheading Qin platform was already full of holes. It couldn't withstand another monster battle. Cracks spread everywhere. Some of them were a few meters long. The Yuan formation in the middle had already dimmed. With just a little bit of force, it could be destroyed. Wang. A ray of energy suddenly shot out from the Zephyr clan's expert and landed on the platform, triggering the dimmed Yuan formation. In the next moment, the platform flashed and the cracks healed. After a few breaths of time, the platform returned to normal. However, on the surface of the platform, there were bright red bloodstains. Wu Yuan's corpse was not far away. Martial ancestor snorted and sat back down. However, his eyes were flickering. Obviously, he wasn't someone who would give up easily. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Tsang Meng was standing on the battle stage. He took a step forward and a terrifying qi filled the air. He stared at Ziqin with his cold eyes, looking extremely aggressive. Why wouldn't I dare? Ziqin took a deep breath and kicked Wu Yuan's corpse. Rays of golden light flashed, and the latter's corpse flew out of the platform and landed on the ground. There's still a place for you there. Ziqin pointed at Wu Yuan's head. Humph! Tsang Meng snorted, and the qi around him surged. Prepare to die. A loud shout rang out as the saber in his hand was raised high up in the air. A terrifying aura circulated around the stage. Humph! Dao Kuang, you're no longer righteous. You've also cultivated an evil blade. You're no longer domineering. Today, I'll definitely kill you. Ziqin's body flashed with golden light. It was as if he was wearing a layer of golden armor. Even his eyes were shining with golden light. He was talking about the incident in the Decapitation Valley. The three monstrous geniuses had declared a challenge and called for the Decapitation Conference. They had set up the platform and declared that they would kill Zichen. However, there were 10 of them hiding in the sky and colluding with each other. Song Meng obviously remembered that incident and his face turned ugly. As monstrous geniuses, they were all arrogant. However, no matter how arrogant they couldn't go against their families. "Cut the crap. Today I'll kill you," Song Meng shouted. His chi had reached the peak. He shook the blade in his hand and slashed it down. A blade light that was more than 10 meters long appeared. It carried a terrifying killing intent and slashed toward Zichen. Zichen's body was shining with golden light. He stepped on the 9 lightning flashes and dodged the blade light like a bolt of golden lightning. Boom! The blade light landed on the platform with a loud explosion. Its chi was completely violent. The entire platform was shaking. Suddenly, rays of light lit up on the platform. It was like a gentle halo that dissolved the energy. With the support of the Zephyr Formation, its endurance was even more shocking. Song Meng's terrifying blade didn't even split the platform. There wasn't even a crack. "You're a Dao Kuang? I think you're more like an evil blade. It's a waste to use the word Kuang on you." Zichen's feet flashed. He relied on his extreme speed to dodge, and at the same time he sneered. Monstrous geniuses were too strong. Song Meng's strength was the same as Wu Yuan's. They were both in the 6th sky. It seemed that Zichen had killed Wu Yuan, but it was a difficult victory. The 2 killer moves had forced Zichen to use extreme yin and extreme yang. Compared to Wu Yuan, Song Meng's aura was stronger. The black blade in his hand was even more superb. He might have 1 or 2 killer moves. Zichen didn't want to be seriously injured. It was very difficult for Zichen to kill 3 monstrous geniuses in a row. At this moment, he could only listen to Elder Hiroshi's suggestion to provoke Song Meng and make him go crazy. He would then seize the opportunity to kill his opponent in 1 move. Chi, the blade light, was more than 10 meters long. It flowed with a terrifying aura as it slashed down. At this moment, the void seemed to be cut open. Ripples appeared. This blade was very powerful. Clang! Zichen went against the sky. His fists were like golden hammers. With a large amount of golden light, they smashed onto the blade light. Light flashed and a terrifying aura rippled, shattering the blade light. The perfect body was still powerful. This was a battle between monstrous geniuses. Both sides were extremely strong. It was difficult to determine the winner in a short period of time. Song Meng was indeed a Dao Kuang. After being provoked by Zichen, his expression became uglier. However, his attacks became sharper. The long blade in his hand flashed and slashed out more than 10 times in an instant. Chi! Chi! Over a dozen saber lights landed on Zichen's body, emitting a series of sounds. The powerful, perfect body completely blocked these attacks. Zichen's body only had a few shallow white marks. His powerful constitution was shocking. "Not bad, but against me, you're still going to die." Song Meng waved his blade again. His moves were domineering. This was a pure blade technique. It walked the path of toughness. There was no defense, only attack. It was courageous and fearless. Swoosh! 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 Song Meng slashed out more than 10 times like lightning. Blade lights filled the sky and the ground, filling the entire battle ring. The murderous intent was filled with a destructive aura. Below, everyone was dumbfounded. There were almost no flaws in Yi Futian's fierce blade technique. Up until now, Zichen had been passively defending and had not taken the initiative to attack. At this moment, he was completely covered by the blade aura. Boom! Zichen's body shone with golden light. Every ray of light was like a sharp blade, emitting endless coldness. His eyes were cold and ruthless, emitting endless murderous intent. Song Meng's combat strength was not weaker than Wu Yuan's. It was going to be another tough battle. Dazzling golden light lit up the sky. Thousands of sword lights appeared and spread in all directions, clashing with the blade lights. Bang! Bang! The saber radiance and the sword radiance collided, creating a loud sound. Then both of them exploded. The entire battle platform was shaking. Ripples flickered, continuously neutralizing this powerful force. The blade lights that filled the battle ring were dispersed by the sword chi. This was one of Songmeng's terrifying blade techniques, but it was easily countered by Zichen. Songmeng's mind was firm. No matter how Zichen attacked him, he was indifferent. Other than his face turning pale and his murderous intent becoming more terrifying, he did not have any other reaction. If that's all you have, I'll send you on your way. Songmeng's eyes turned even colder. The black blade in his hand emitted cold light, emitting a terrifying, murderous intent. Humph! Songmeng only responded with a cold snort. Die! With a shout, the long blade in Songmeng's hand began to vibrate. A terrifying aura spread out from it. Songmeng held the blade with both hands and waved it wildly, slashing towards Zichen. Chi! The sky suddenly darkened as if night had fallen. A huge blade light that was dozens of meters long appeared in the sky, circulating with a terrifying aura. Boundless murderous intent filled the air. The long blade almost covered the entire battle ring like a black cloud. A huge pressure locked onto Zichen, making it impossible for Zichen to dodge. Chapter 266. Go to hell. The light in Songmeng's eyes grew brighter, and a ruthless killing intent filled the air. Clang! 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 The saber light fell from the sky, carrying a dense killing intent as it met Zichen's golden lightning. However, in the next moment, the saber light trembled in the air, emitting a clanging sound. Then it split into three and fell towards Zichen's head and his left and right shoulders. This scene happened so quickly that Zichen didn't even have time to react. The blade beam that had split into three slashed down instantly. Pum! He only had time to smash one blade beam with his fist. The other two blade beams slashed at Zichen's shoulders. The terrifying force dissipated, and Zichen fell off the platform. When his feet landed on the ground, it caused a huge tremor. The platform trembled as he took a few steps back. Every step caused the platform to tremble. After 5 steps, Zichen stabilized himself. At that moment, 2 bloody wounds appeared on Zichen's shoulders. Blood flowed out. Songmeng's unexpected strike had injured him. Thankfully, he had a perfect body and his defense was very strong. If it were anyone else, their arms would have been severed. Zichen was injured and almost had his arms chopped off. Everyone below was shocked. The change in Wu Yuan's move was too fast. No one had expected it, and they all felt a chill in their hearts. What a terrifying move! He suddenly changed his move and attack trajectory. Who can defend against such a strange move? Everyone's expression changed as they felt the terror of this move. Fortunately, it's Zichen. His physique is almost monstrous. If it were anyone else, they would have been crippled even if they didn't die. Every monster has their own unique means. Songmeng is indeed a monster. Everyone was amazed. Many people applauded Songmeng's move. Such a move was definitely a killer move. It caught the opponent off guard. Not bad. On the high platform, Yukong from the Song family nodded in satisfaction. The battle had just begun, but he had already injured Zichen. It was as if he could already see Zichen being killed. This time Zichen is dead. There won't be any more unforeseen events. He appeared to be very confident. Songmeng had loved saber techniques since he was young. He was obsessed with saber techniques to the extreme. Moreover, he was very talented. He was born to practice saber techniques. In terms of saber techniques, he was very fast. Therefore, the Song family did not interfere with Songmeng. The others didn't say anything. They were all looking at the battle platform. The injured Zichen's eyes were much colder. He was like an angry wolf. and a dangerous aura surged around him. With a flash of light, a weapon appeared in his hand, emitting a dazzling light. It was a long spear that shone with a silver light and an ancient aura. It was an ancient weapon used in ancient martial arts. The moment it appeared, it attracted many exclamations. "That's an ancient weapon. The ancient weapon that I obtained in the land of Legacy." Li Hua and Song, he were both killed by the ancient soldiers. And those people from the heroic Beheading Valley. That ancient weapon is too terrifying. It's almost indestructible. Many of the cultivators had seen the ancient weapon in Zi Chen's hand. However, when it appeared again, it was still shocking. It was not any weaker than a spiritual weapon. The only downside was that it couldn't be controlled with one's mind. However, its sharpness and toughness were stronger than a spiritual weapon. The real battle has just begun. Zi Chen held the ancient weapon in his hand. The wound on his shoulder was slowly healing. Zi Chen's recovery was still shocking. "Humph, you can actually block my one blade 3 changes. You're pretty good," Song Meng sneered. "Die," Zi Chen shouted coldly. The silver spear shone brightly like a silver moon. "You're talking big. Watch how I kill you," Song Meng shouted. A cold light flashed in his cold eyes. The long saber in his hand suddenly swept toward Zi Chen. The saber radiance appeared again. Clang! Zi Chen dashed forward. The long spear in his hand danced, emitting a bright silver light. With the injection of Yuan force, the spear radiance rushed forward like a silver dragon. The dazzling radiance lit up the sky. Before the saber radiance split apart in the air, it rushed forward and shattered the saber radiance. Like a silver dragon roaring, it turned into a silver light and rushed towards Song Meng. Song Meng held his saber and rushed forward, rolling up a boundless saber radiance. When the saber and spear collided, there was a terrifying explosion. Sparks flew everywhere. The indestructible ancient weapon actually failed to shatter the long saber. Obviously, the long saber was not an ordinary weapon. In the blink of an eye, both sides had exchanged dozens of moves. They were like 2 rays of light, one silver and one black. The sound of metal clanging could be heard continuously. The ancient weapon in his hand was indestructible. It launched a fierce attack like a poisonous dragon. Song Meng's expression was solemn. He seemed to have entered a mysterious state. The long saber in his hand was constantly moving. No matter how Zi Chen attacked, Song Meng could easily resolve it. What is the quality of Song Meng's long saber? Even the ancient weapon could not shatter it. The ancient weapon is indestructible. Ordinary weapons would be shattered in an instant. Song Meng's black saber has already collided with it dozens of times, but it is not damaged at all. The cultivators who had seen the sharpness of the ancient weapon were extremely shocked. They found it unbelievable. Thousand Saber Transformation. After a long battle, Song Meng finally shouted. In the next moment, the long saber in his hand exploded with an unparalleled aura. A sky-high saber radiance went against the sky. It was as black as ink and emitted a terrifying aura. Clang! 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 The saber radiance trembled in the air and split into 2. It turned into 3, and each of them had a terrifying aura. It was like a demonic aura. The sky-high saber radiance turned into dozens of saber radiances. However, the aura did not decrease by much. Each of the saber radiances contained boundless killing intent. The air let out an ear-piercing shriek. Ripples appeared in the air, causing tremors. The dozens of saber radiances fell from the sky with a terrifying aura. "This move is useless against me," Zi Chen shouted. The ancient weapon in his hand emitted a dazzling light. His right hand pierced out at lightning speed. In an instant, spear radiances appeared and shot towards the saber radiances. Bang! 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 The spear radiances pierced through the void and landed on the saber radiances. There was a loud explosion. The two of them dissipated and turned into the energy of heaven and earth. Zichen struck out at lightning speed. The saber radiances were destroyed, one by one. In the blink of an eye, 10 saber radiances were destroyed. The remaining saber radiances were nearing him. Buzz! The silver spear in Zichen's hand trembled. It spun rapidly in his hand and turned into a round shield. It blocked the saber radiances on top of Zichen's head. The dozens of saber radiances were neutralized by Zichen in the end. However, at this moment, a dangerous aura rose from Zichen's heart. A boundless killing intent rushed towards Zichen. Without thinking, he slashed forward with his ancient weapon. Clang! With a soft sound, sparks flew. Zichen felt a strong force coming from the tip of his spear. The spear almost fell out of his hand and he was pushed back. At this moment, he saw clearly what he had slashed. It was a ball of light, a pitch-black light. Swoosh! The black light was very fast. It rushed towards Zichen again like lightning. Clang! 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 Zichen brandished his long spear to block. But the power of the black light was too great. Every time he was hit, he would be pushed back. After a dozen attacks, Zichen was forced to the edge of the stage. Scram! The black light flew towards him again. Zichen was furious. He roared. The silver spear emitted a golden light. It turned into a golden lightning and hit the black light. Bang! A loud sound caused the stage to shake. The black light was attacked by the ancient weapon. It trembled for a moment and then dissipated, revealing the thing inside the black light. It was a saber. This is a spiritual weapon. The saber emitted a special aura. Zichen exclaimed. This was a spiritual weapon controlled by one's mind. He didn't expect Songmeng to have a spiritual weapon. Spiritual weapon, that's a spiritual weapon. Songmeng actually has a spiritual weapon. Exclamations came from below. It was a black saber. It was only the size of a palm and was very sharp. With every attack, Zichen felt a dangerous aura. An ancient weapon against a spiritual weapon. This is really a fierce battle. Everyone was filled with anticipation. An ancient weapon against a spiritual weapon. Who would be the stronger one? He has an ancient weapon and Meng, or has a spiritual weapon. They are evenly matched. Looking at the surrounding gazes, the Song family expert snorted. That's right. Only a spiritual weapon can resist an ancient weapon. The Li family expert nodded. The others didn't say anything because the battle on the stage had not ended. Qi, the spiritual weapon, turned into a ray of light and flew towards Songmeng. Immediately, a killing intent spread. Songmeng held the saber in his hand and struck out again. Boom! The sky shook and a terrifying aura rippled. A saber radiance with boundless killing intent appeared and struck towards Zichen. It was another killing move. It was very powerful. The bone-piercing killing intent sent chills down Zichen's spine. Songmeng's combat strength was already terrifying. Now that he had a spiritual weapon, it was like adding wings to a tiger. Attacks after attacks were displayed, and Zichen was suppressed instantly. Zichen, who had just arrived in the middle of the stage, was forced to retreat again. How shameless! He actually has a spiritual weapon. On the spectator stand, Wang Xian bit her lips and was very worried. Wang sure furrowed his eyebrows. They have always been shameless. Wang Shan was also indignant. As for Wang Qiong, his expression didn't change. He had been watching the battle quietly. Swoosh! As soon as the saber radiance appeared, Songmeng controlled the spiritual weapon with his mind. It turned into a ray of lightning and struck towards Zichen. Haha, Zichen, let's see if you can still survive. Battle techniques appeared one after another. They were powerful and terrifying. They were already suppressing Zichen. Now that the spiritual weapon had appeared, Zichen didn't even have the strength to fight back. Wang Meng was laughing arrogantly. Pow! Ziqin had just repelled the spiritual weapon when a terrifying attack landed. He took a few steps back and the blood in his body churned. I have a spiritual weapon and can suppress you. How can you turn the tables? Today will be the day you die. Your blood will die the decapitation stage. Song Meng was aggressive. He took a step forward and the stage shook. Then a powerful attack appeared again. You're celebrating too early. Zichen's eyes emitted a cold light. A ray of light flashed in front of him and a ray of golden light appeared. It was a fist-sized rock that emitted a faint golden light. It was extremely heavy and floated in the air. Wang,